Good gracious alive. Welcome in. It's Friday. It's a free-for-all Friday here on the show. Some people call it Maroon Friday, so I am decked out in my maroon Mississippi State shirt. Compliments of the Mississippi State University Golf Course. Hit them up on Twitter at HailStateGC. I'm Matt in the Farm Bureau studio. Farm Bureau, go! With the home team. They are your home team at Farm Bureau. What's up, y'all? What do you want to do? What do you want to talk about? A free-for-all Friday. Everything is on the table.
That means it's a Ted Nugent Friday.
Why is that?
Because his best album ever was Free for All.
Oh, was it really? I'm not familiar with his music. Now, I'm sort of familiar. Didn't he have a TV show where he was like, it was like a hunting show or something?
Yeah, he was. His nickname was Gonzo, right?
Yeah, right.
Because he's just an unbelievable guitar player. But, yeah, the show is Gonzo as far as it goes with hunting. I mean, it's to the next level of, we're gonna kill anything, and we're going to shoot the biggest guns that are available.
The biggest guns and anything that moves, we're shooting at it, right? That was his show? I got you.
Well, you would figure, because his best song that's probably known to man, and my buddy Vic Brown would love this, because this used to be a buddy of ours' walkout song, was is Stranglehold.
That's a good one. Kind of set the tone right there.
There you go.
Well,
happy Friday to you, man.
Yeah, happy Friday to you too, man. I went and watched a little high school football last night. I'll tell you all about that. Of course, games tomorrow we're going to look forward to and preview all of them. All of them. Well, and you say all of them, we still, are partial college football schedule and some being canceled. And the Cocoa continues to pop up. Notre Dame president has it. The president has it. I learned that this morning when I woke up. So hopefully they recover after quarantine and are okay. So games are being canceled, postponed. But there are plenty of games going on. So that's the world we live in. Plenty to talk about with you here on a free-for-all Friday. So whatever you want, it's on the table. Like, put some fried chicken on the table. White Denzel on the country pleasing text line, 885-ESPN. Y'all text the show, 885-ESPN. White Denzel, did you get some Woody's chicken last night? And if so, how good was it? Okay, I went right by Woody's and got a video, a shot for the video of the outside of Woody's. But I didn't go in because I was running late. Because on the way down there, White Denzel, after the show yesterday, I jumped in a car and I went to Wyatt. 1A football last night. Big crosstown rivals. Wyatt versus Noxapater. And, man, that was a great experience. It really enjoyed being there. Can't wait to put the video together.
When's that going to be up?
Well, I don't know.
Usually it's on a Saturday afternoon, Sunday morning.
Yeah, I'm thinking it'll probably be Sunday. Okay. Before I get it finished. I would love to get it finished tonight and put it out, but my daughter's having some friends over.
Yeah.
And they're going to play and shoot basketball and do different stuff, and then they want to roast marshmallows over a fire outside, some of that. And so I think I'm going to be tied up tonight.
Well, I got some friends that have been watching it, man, and they are as inspired and intrigued as I am.
Well, I appreciate
some
that.
Good stuff, and I'm not just blowing smoke up your skirt.
Well,
I'm telling you, it's some excellent stuff. And if those out there that are listening in Radio Land have not gone to your YouTube channel or to your Facebook page or to other places where they can find that, and you need to do it, because that is. I will tell you this, and again, I'm not trying to butter your bread, but it is John Grisham, Willie Morris-esque,
wow.
A video as opposed to being on the page and printed word. But it is something that is, and the cool thing is they read like a chapter. They're 6 to 8 minutes long.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Really, really good stuff. So I told my wife and my youngest last night, I'm really looking forward to seeing this one, because I've got a good buddy from Noxapater.
Do you? Okay. Yeah. Well, I appreciate the kind words. Yeah, and anybody who, if you're a sports fan, but really if you just kind of like stories, You might like these, okay? And like JB said, the YouTube channel, just go to YouTube and search me, and you'll see it there, or just youtube.com/Matt Wyatt Media. And every week now, this will be the 4th or 5th one, I go to a high school game, make a short video, but it's sort of docu-style. It's not like, epic highlights and fast. No, it's sort of, to show you, it's like to be there and see and hear what it was like, even though you couldn't be there. Okay, so kind of documenting it. And you may like that. It's, and the purpose is with those to kind of capture what is really special about high school football in small towns, big towns, medium-sized towns, communities that are close-knit, to just kind of capture that and portray it, sort of tell that story with video. And so, it's also on Facebook, facebook.com/Radio Wyatt. It's titled Hometown Heroes, and you may like that. But, you mentioned those guys who are great storytellers.
Yeah.
That really is the deal. If you have a good story, then it doesn't really matter what medium you use to tell the story.
No, because it tells itself.
That's exactly right. So,
you are just the conduit from which it flows, my man.
That's it.
But you got to be is one of the first things I learned about journalism, print journalism, was you got to open a vein. You got to let it flow.
Yeah.
And that comes from the great sports writer Red Smith, who the best sports writer around here I've ever read is Rick Cleveland. But all that to say, the videos capture things, and your way of bringing in the local radio, both home and visitors, and look, man, the drone footage to me is amazing. That one that you had in the back corner of the end zone over the indoor workout area for Warren Central, was amazing to me.
Yeah,
because I have sat there forever and just kind of been quiet as much as I can, because some people will tell you I'm never quiet. but it was. I've watched that over and over this week, because that was a really cool video.
I appreciate that. You know how lucky that was. That was a deal where I'm gonna. And by the way, I should say this kind of public service announcement for anybody wondering. The drone stuff, there's recreational, there's commercial use, but any of those have rules and laws that you have to follow. And one of which is you have to have your, unmanned aircraft, if you want to call it that, pilot's license. You got to have a license to be able to fly this thing, especially if you do it commercially, which requires you to go through training, which requires you to pass a test, which is very hard to pass in my experience. But I did pass it. And then I'm almost 2 years into it, so I'm going to have to renew. I'm going to go back and take the test again and renew, and it's very tough. So anyway, you got to kind of be really careful not to put anybody in danger when you fly those things. But getting a shot. And here's the thing, how lucky that was, JB. This is last week at Warren Central.
Yeah, last Friday.
I filmed, from the sideline the whole first half, trying to get highlights and different things. And so I go, and at the end of halftime, my daughter and my niece and nephew wanted to see that drone. I was like, okay, all right, we'll do that. And so I lifted up back there so they could see it lift up. They like to see the lights blinking on it. I thought, I'll get a shot of this while I'm up there. I happened to raise it up and get a shot of the field as Warren Central was ripping off about a 75-yard touchdown run.
Yes, you did.
and I had there's just no way of knowing that's going to happen, and it just was really, really lucky.
Well, I'm glad to know that's how it happened, because I forever and because just being the video junkie that I am about that kind of stuff, I was like, man, how did he know that was going to happen?
Lucky.
So let me ask you this: do you use an old iPhone for the camera, or do you have an iPad in there?
Oh, for the drone? No. It's the drones nowadays that you have built-in cameras that are really, yes.
Because I got a good buddy that has one, and he puts his iPad in it.
Huh? Isn't that something? Yeah. That might be some of the early iterations of it. I'm not familiar
Probably.
with those. this one, it's a fairly expensive piece of equipment, actually.
Oh, yeah.
And you got to register it with the FAA, and again, you got to have your license and all this stuff. But it's got a built-in camera, and it is absolutely amazing what those things will do. Now, they are dangerous. I'll tell you, they are dangerous. And one of the scary things is to think of somebody who is untrained, who doesn't know what they're doing, going and buying one and potentially flying it over people or, using it in places that you shouldn't use it. And because you could hurt people. Several years ago, JB, there was a Vanderbilt football player that I want to say got arrested because from his apartment or dorm room or something, he lifted and flew a drone over a huge crowd of people in downtown Nashville and lost control of it. And I want to say it either landed on some people or crashed onto some people. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, that's such a long way from the planes that I grew up flying.
Yeah, I know.
Those little testers.
And those
planes
big
with
foam
the built-in
things?
Yeah, no, but these had little engines.
Yeah,
You had
okay.
gas came in a little bottle.
Yeah.
And you could almost get the tip of your finger cut off if you didn't flip it just right to get that engine started. Man.
Sure.
So now
It's funny, used to
it's droning me out.
the small airplanes that people would fly, the remote control airplanes people used to fly, used to be a big deal like in the 90s. And there at, part of the college there at Mississippi State, there was this road right along old I-82 leading in there that everybody used to line up and fly those airplanes and stuff. And now, anybody can go online and buy one of those drones, but you really ought to be very, very careful with them because they can be super
Back when I
dangerous.
was at State, it was just a 57 Chevy.
Yeah, we actually had to have gas. We didn't use batteries to fly stuff. We had to put gas in it. All right, let's see what folks are saying. On the Facebook live feed, Anna says, Happy Friday, back at you. Anna, John said, hey, Matt, enjoy what you do. Thank you so much. Jason says, you need to come to Union tonight. 3-1 Union versus 2-0 Newton, and then he corrected Newton is 3-0. What, Newton County? Is that what we're saying? What's up to Sven and RLD Studio, a couple of regulars on the show on YouTube. Anna says, we'd love for you to come to a game at Hartfield Academy in Flowood. Yeah, I would love to. That's the thing. I mean, there are so... that's what's so cool about this is, I go to Chris Brooks' website each week, JB, MississippiGridiron.com.
Me too.
And we're going to talk
in
about
spite of his radio show. That's a great website.
It's a great website and a great resource. All the list of games every week. They have a top 10 games to watch. They predict them. They have nuggets about the teams. They rank the teams. It's a great high school football resource and JUCO resource. So I go there every week, and I'm starting. You look through to find games you might want to go and take the cameras to, and it's all of them. Like any of these communities, any of these towns, the way they support high school football in them. You got a story anywhere you want to go. I could put the cameras in the car, start driving, no GPS, no direction, no nothing. Just start driving and just keep driving. And eventually,
Dylan would say no direction home. You just go.
Just go and eventually look for lights, pull in there, and you're going to find a great high school story. It's just the way it is around the state of Mississippi. So we'll get into some of that. Yeah, and so back to Denzel. I didn't go into Woody's. I was going through Noxapater to get to Nanawaya, and I go into Noxapater and turn left right there at Woody's. So I didn't go in, but if I had, I would have gotten the chicken, and it would have been based on your recommendation. Let's see. Unnamed texter said Ted Nugent wrote a book called Kill It and Grill It.
Yeah, he did. My oldest son owns that book.
Well, this guy says he got a copy of it and that Ted Nugent signed it for him at Borders in Flowood. But
his best trophy.
But his best trophy was his smoking hot wife. That's according to our text line.
That's what gets you when you can play guitar instead of shooting a rifle.
How about Brooksy McJack, who has weighed in? This is Brooks on the Country Pleasing text line. Who, by the way, Brooks, I always talk about country pleasing sausage, but I think Brooks eats as much of it as I do. And he knows Henry and the folks there also. Brooks says the videos are very, very good, and JB is actually buttering your bread. Both are true.
Yeah, he doesn't know what those colloquialisms mean anyway. He's just thinking about mac and cheese.
That's a hard word for me to say. colloquialism. Colloquialism. Okay.
There you go. Boom. You got it.
Boom. Got it. Don't ever ask me to say it again. I've perfected it. I've mastered it. I'm moving on to other words. Chicken Hawk is on the country pleasing text line. This is one way to get Chicken Hawk on the show, and it only takes 30 seconds. Chicken Hawk says, do you ever do anything with our friend Brent Shorter? I hadn't seen Brent in a while. Tell him to holler at me. I don't know. Jason in Flagstaff says, I love Chris and his show, but he is gone with the alternative facts about COVID and the masks. Brother Wyatt, you ever get a chance to take that drone to Tishomingo State Park? I have not, Jason. I will tell you this, though. A lot of state parks, certainly federal parks, the Natchez Trace, one of those, you better not be caught flying that drone over those things, okay? You better go to great lengths to make sure it's approved, and if it's not, don't fool with it. I haven't learned that from experience.
That's federal.
Yeah, but many others have learned that from experience the hard way. In fact, if you do it right, okay, and you register it, you have your license, I register the device itself, I hook everything up to GPS so that if I lose track of it, it can be tracked and they can track it back to me, and all this kind of stuff on the up and up. So when you do that, those satellites won't even let that drone take off. They will not even let it. It sends it a signal that says you stay on the ground and you are within, an area here where it should not be flown. It will not let you launch it. And a lot of the parks are that way too. White Denzel says no Newton County game is canceled to coronavirus. Really? Oh, you're saying no Newton High School. Is that what you're saying? I mean, I'm a little confused. I need some punctuation. JB from Jackson said, hey, just watched your video. Awesome. 85-yard touchdown. What a sight. Keep it coming. Thank you very much. Appreciate that very much. It's just fun to go and do them. And so last night I go to Nanawaya. Thursday night game. They're hosting Noxapater. The story, I started learning some of the story of that yesterday talking to Bart Gregory, who's from Nanawaya. Talked to him yesterday here on the show, and he filled me in. And then I talked to Bart a little bit off the air. JB, they have an unbelievable Indian mound, the Nanawaya Mound.
Yes.
Okay,
I've seen it.
Have you?
Very similar to the two right between, actually Live Oaks Golf Club and Pocahontas.
Okay.
There are two huge Indian mounds right there.
Okay. It's really cool, and they've got a place you can pull off the road. See, they got staircases. You can go, climb it up to the top of it there. And I tell you what was one is I knew nothing about it prior. Two, to go see it. It's huge. It's hard to imagine people building this thing with their bare hands. And then the other thing was down there in Winston County, you're so far, when you go to that mound, you're so far away from big roads that it's just silent. It's a silence out there that I don't get to hear very much.
Yeah, don't you think that's why they put them there?
It was awesome. Awesome. All right,
yeah,
Larry.
They knew way more than we did. Or way more than we do.
They were very much more connected.
Oh, my Lord. Yeah.
Right. Larry on the Davini Equipment phone line. Davini Equipment in Madison and in Jackson. Your Kubota dealer. Larry, what's up?
I'm on my lunch break. Hey, back in the 80s, I went and watched Ted Nugent in concert, and the lights were on, and nobody was on the stage. Everybody was waiting around. About 15 minutes before the concert started, we're on the floor of the Coliseum, and Ted Nugent just walks with a mouthful of gum, tuned the guitar up, and starts playing, and nobody realized what's going on. Then his band comes running out. Then the lights go out. He just kind of,
Where was that, man? Do you know, Larry?
That had to be like 85, maybe. Somewhere around 85, 86, somewhere around there.
I saw him at the Coliseum in 80, and he did a very similar thing, so that's interesting.
Yeah. He was opening up for Rick Springfield. And
wow.
The funny thing was, when he finished, half the people was leaving.
When he finished,
what? Now, all the girls were staying, but all the guys were leaving. So. I got a question for Matt real quick. If we tested positive and couldn't coach the game, who would be the play caller? And I'll get off the list. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Larry. JB, help me. What did he say? Did he say if what?
If Leach tested positive for the virus and was not able to be in and around, who would be the play caller?
Yeah, that's interesting.
You would have to imagine there would be a Zoom that Benny Ashford would have to, run it himself. Probably.
Yeah, sure. Now, I imagine it would probably be, it probably would be somewhere that, I'm just guessing it's either Steve Spurrier Jr., the outside receivers coach, or Mason Miller, the offensive line coach. He might call them. But I'm just thinking you're probably looking at Steve Spurrier Jr. in conjunction with, whoever your quarterback is who would be your play caller. That's a good question. I don't know.
I'll tell you what I think they would do. They would find him a hole in the wall somewhere in Davis Wade where he could communicate and be quarantined, and he would call the plays.
Yeah, let him text. Just have one of the coaches down there on a cell phone talking to Leach, Hey,
he would pretend to be one of the fake cardboard people.
My dad went and drove up to Wetumpka, Alabama yesterday to watch my two nephews play in a junior high football game. They're twins, twin boys. They're big boys, linemen. So this is my dad's their granddad. He drives up to watch his grandsons play. And you know what he told me? He said, their coach down there on the sideline during the game spent most of the game talking on his cell phone.
Oh, wow.
Can you imagine that?
Yeah, Mississippi State baseball players can a few years
Well,
ago.
yeah, exactly. And you get fired for it.
Yeah,
I mean, exactly. All right. I'm going to get to your comments. Corey and Will and Brian and Jason and Scott and Patrick and everybody. Stick around.
There's a lot of noise when it comes to
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
Bull. There's a lot of that out there in the wireless world. But C Spire believes that you deserve a plan that is what it actually says it is. Here's the real deal. The best plan, 1 or 2 lines. Unlimited talk and text with 10 gigabytes of high-speed data. And here's the real deal. $45 per line with auto pay and paperless billing. Even without auto pay, it's just $50. Now, how's that for the fine print? No bull. That's the real deal. Switch to C Spire today at cspire.com/real deal. C Spire, customer inspired. Man, that sounds like summertime in Mississippi, doesn't it? You know what else just screams summertime in Mississippi? Country Pleasin' Sausage from Country Meat Packers in Florence. Check me out. Jalapeno and cheddar. Just got it at Kroger in Tupelo where I live. On grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast. Cut it up, throw it in the frying pan. Put it on a bun. Get some andouille, make some gumbo. It is the best sausage you've ever put in your mouth. Country Pleasin' Sausage, countrypleasin.com. It is made up of hand-picked hams, bacon, and pork loin. That's why it tastes so good. I even got this cool hat from them. Check them out. Go by the butcher shop there in Florence, or order it online, or look for it in grocery stores. Walk up in there and say, Country Pleasin', please.
A lot of people in the equipment world things kind of go in trends, I guess, if you want to say it. So kind of the first big thing for 2020 that we look at when we start evaluating our business is going to be our turf equipment. That's kind of the first big push, because once everything, the water dries up and the grass starts growing, this is what everybody's looking to get. We carry the new Wright stand-up mower. Doesn't look like much, and it's dirty as all get out. But this thing is, and it costs just as much as zero turn. Not a cheap unit at all. I mean, if you go out there and look at that zero turn, this thing right here, I mean, it's got all your components from your big pumps to your commercial engine to your large steel deck. And these guys were the first.
105.9 The Zone and streaming. Check it out online now at thezone1059.com.
All right, so your texts and your comments on the live stream coming up. Y'all can be like Larry and everybody can hear your voice. Call me on the Davini phone. Let me give you those numbers. The Davini phone is 995-1059, 601-995-1059. The Country Pleasing text line is 885-ESPN. That's a 601 number. 885 ESPN. Somebody tweeted me also. I'm Radio Wyatt on Twitter. If y'all ever want to send me a tweet, feel free. Bully Bones on Twitter said that he saw Nugent open up for Kiss in '99 at the Coliseum in Jackson. I mean, that's a pretty big deal right there, huh? So he opened for Kiss. So Kiss was. Let me tell you, I've never been to a lot of concerts. I'm not I love music, all different kinds, but I'm not a concert goer. I haven't really enjoyed many of the concerts I went to, or that I was. Well, I take that back. When you say enjoyed, when you say you don't enjoy it, it gives you the impression that I hated it. It wasn't that I hated it. It wasn't that I had a bad time.
Just wasn't your cup of tea.
It's just that about halfway through all of them, I find myself going, man, why can't I get out of here? You know? Mm-hmm. Okay, except for one.
Kind of like a bad date.
I guess, yeah. It's just not my cup of tea. That's it. I mean, they take a long time, and I got stuff to do. Look, except for one. In Tupelo several years ago, this might have been over 15 years ago. Hard to imagine it's been that long ago. There were Poison was coming to Tupelo, to the arena in Tupelo. Poison was the headliner. And before Poison, the first one to go up there was Faster Pussycat, followed by Winger.
Oh, Beeve would love Winger.
Followed by Cinderella.
Hairbands.
Followed by Cinderella, then followed by Poison. So there were 4 of them. And you got a ticket. You were there for all of that, right? Okay. So, again, this is a little over 15 years ago. I did not grow up a fan of hairbands. Yeah, I like that song, Pour Some Sugar on Me, Def Leppard. Other than that, like all my friends growing up, like all these people are Metallica, and I'm like, I don't like any of it. I'm not a hairband person, never was. But adult Matt, 15 years ago, went to this in Tupelo. The first one, Faster Pussycat. And like, whatever, I don't recognize any of it. Then Winger had like a song that you knew, and it was pretty cool. Then Cinderella got up there, and then the roof started caving in. Like, they were awesome. The lead singer of Cinderella was not just the lead singer. He could play anything. He's wearing a big top hat, which is cool. It was loud, and he could go sit down and play any of the instruments up there, pick any of them up, and just kill it. And so the truth is, Cinderella was so good that when that was over, Poison then comes out, and it was kind of a letdown. Because I was not a big Poison fan growing up either. Now, after this was over, I was with a group of people that had backstage deals. Like, we'd go back there to meet Bret Michaels, the lead singer of Poison. And so we go back there, and first of all, he was really nice, really down to earth and normal, and really, really short.
Yeah. I was gonna say, man, you towered over those guys.
I'm talking. All of them were tiny.
Yeah, they're 5'7", 5'8".
But they were really nice, just as normal and laid back and nice as they could possibly be. We didn't get to meet Cinderella though, and I wanted to. And I kind of, sort of, since then, I kind of, sort of became a Cinderella fan. Isn't that weird?
You didn't say Render Seller.
Render Seller, no. Mm-hmm. Remember that Jerry Lewis movie, Cinderfella?
Yeah.
My daughter loves that. I showed it to her. He made some disparaging comments one time, though, about Mississippi. Jerry Lewis did. So you can't find a whole lot of older folks in Mississippi that are fond of Jerry Lewis. Or will admit that they think he's funny,
Yeah, well, that's when you just kind of let, you carry that bitterness around for a long time, and it just weighs you down more than you could ever imagine.
Oh, that's right.
You got to bury that bucket of bitterness in the ground and walk away.
That's right.
It's amazing how much lighter your step will be.
White Denzel, country pleasing text. Union is playing Newton High tonight. He was trying to correct me on that. Okay, not Newton County, Newton High School. All right. Who are we getting a sky lift? Patrick said something about get somebody.
Probably about our man Leach. Get him a sky lift.
Oh, yeah.
From everybody.
Yeah. Well, like Vardaman High School last week or 2 weeks ago. Remember that?
Yeah, too. Yeah.
The picture kind of went viral. They put that guy up in a bucket, lifted him up there.
Boy, that'd be tough for me. The older I get high anxiety, man.
Yeah, you don't want to be up that high. I get you.
That's a great Mel Brooks movie if you've never seen it, by the way.
High Anxiety?
Yeah. Oh, it's killer.
Okay.
You will laugh till you have to wear a diaper.
Mel Brooks is really funny.
Yeah.
Everything he's ever done is funny. Yeah. Scott, country pleasing text, says, hey, Nanawaya. Y'all remember Freddie Joe Nunn, All-American defensive end for the Rebels in '84. So he was from Nanawaya, huh? I didn't realize that.
I got a Freddie Joe Nunn story.
Hit me.
So I played with a group of guys on a basketball team that won the all-school championship at state intramurals. And so we were able to pick up one guy. And so we picked up Kelvin Hildreth, who had played for Bob Boyd. He was from L.A., played at Hawaii, but was a good friend of mine. And so we picked him up. And there was an all-intramural champion tournament held at Mississippi State. So if you won your intramurals at any of the JUCOs or the senior colleges, you came to state and played at the 10 Gym, which is no more, and at McCarthy, a tournament to determine the intramural champ of Mississippi colleges. So we make it to the finals, and we're playing Ole Miss, and Freddie Joe Nunn is their center, and he's about 6'4", 6'5", 260. And I'm like, I'm barely 6'2", and I'm weighing maybe $180. And so I'm not going inside. But our man Kelvin Hildreth neutralized him, and we beat Ole Miss and won the Mississippi All-School Intramural Championship.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Did you say the 10 Gym is not there anymore?
No, man, they leveled that thing.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Matter of fact, that's where my son-in-law and my daughter and their crew, they tailgate right on top of what would have
where
been
it was?
The middle court. Yeah.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't realize that. I should have known that.
There was some great runs there, pal.
Yeah, I have a couple of memories that jump out of it. The 10 Gym. One positive, one negative. All right. The positive one is I got to see Eric Moulds, McDonald's All-American basketball player in high school who just chose to play football. Okay.
Right.
I got to see Eric Moulds put on a dunk show in there one day. And it was incredible. Incredible. And then the negative is I bullied a guy in there.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he was, and I'm embarrassed. I wish I could find this guy and just apologize to him face to face, and we're both in our 40s now. But we were playing this intramural game. Well, not an intramural, a pickup game in there. And, you know. You
kind of pulled the Trevor Lawrence.
I just was shoving him around. Yeah. So we had no officials. We had no referees. And so I was just way physical with him in this basketball game. And instead of playing by the rules, like if he had me blocked out, I'd just shove him out of the way and get a rebound or whatever. And really, and he's just a guy going to school there, probably in a fraternity, short, kind of stubby, curly hair, nice guy, seemed like. And about halfway through it, he says to me, he goes, "Hey, you can't just shove people out of the way. It's against the rules. You know that, don't you?" And I wanted to say, yeah, but we don't have officials here. But then it kind of hit me, man, I've been treating this kid wrong. I should not have done this to him. He's just trying to play the game. I should play by the rules. Instead of throwing my weight around and shoving this guy around like a big jerk. So I think I kind of halfway maybe apologized, but I have always felt bad about that. I've always felt like I want to run into him and say, "Hey, you know what? You were right. I apologize for shoving you around in that game."
We all have those.
Yeah, I think the moments in my life that I regret the most.
Yeah, don't be a Richard, right?
Are the ones where I bullied somebody or started to do that. I hate that. I hate bullies. And I hate even worse having been one a couple of times. I wish somebody had come along and whipped my fanny. Oh, anyway, Kelly watching on Periscope says, with the tin gym the same as the cow barn. Is that what they call it, the cow barn? I don't know about that.
I've always known it as the tin gym. I want to say the cow barn was McCarthy.
I'm thinking that's right. Yeah. Where they used to play basketball and then they played volleyball in there and stuff like that. Kelly also had a very interesting question. This is one that keeps coming up. This will get us kind of back over to the football thing here. Kelly, you're asking a question that just keeps coming up over and over again, and that is, how was Washington able to beat Leach's air raid often while he was at Washington State? You know what I'm going to have, Kelly, you and so many others bring that up. I'm going to have to go back and watch some of those games and see. But I'll tell you what I could do. I could just even go look at Winsipedia.com. I'll tell you all about that website. You can compare any two teams in the country. Winsipedia.com. And just look at the scores of those games when those two teams played each other. I'll do that next. And then also next, we'll look at the slate of games, college games tomorrow. Make sure we know who, what, when, and where. I know we went over it once this week, but we'll do it again. It's been a couple of days. So all of that coming up. Plus your texts and your phone calls and comments. Free for all Friday in the Farm Bureau studio. Stick around.
I'm actually going to head up to Biggersville up in Alcorn County tonight. 1A Biggersville, they're 2-0 this year. Scored 60 points in their ball game last week, so they're off to a really good start. Been by there a bunch. You can see the school and the field from the highway. There's a school, a water tower, a barbecue place, and a Dollar General, and a lot of really good folks.
I started at Biggerville in the second grade in 1966, and I've been here since the second grade. So people in Biggerville have been so good to me. And the good Lord, I'm just really blessed by what I've been able to experience. After school Thursday, there was 28 kids out there, and we counted the orders after. We're just blessed to support the school, and they sure support me.
This is the busy night, like everyone's coming.
It's a close-knit community. I mean, they love the kids, and like I said, I've been in Biggerville for 60 years, and it's just a great place. I mean, great place to raise your family and kids and support the school.
Smithville, who's always kind of been a 1A powerhouse, hasn't played yet this year. They haven't been able to really even practice as much because of COVID. So kind of an interesting dynamic because Biggersville has never beaten Smithville. At least that's what I'm told. So it's actually a huge opportunity for that community.
I was supposed to stay next week.
Hamburger and
Monday.
Coke. You got any chips?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to tonight's game between the Biggersville Lions and the Smithville Seminoles. And what a game we have in store tonight as the 2-0 Lions take on the 0-0 Smithville Seminoles.
Well, let's see if the Lions can get their run game going with senior number 23, Goldman Butler.
So tonight's matchup getting ready to take place as the Biggersville Lions won the toss. They have elected to defer to the second half. We thank you all for tuning in to tonight's ball game.
Of course, Smithville brings tradition that people long for, and that's kind of what we long for here. Again, we're building it, but they've kind of set the standard, especially in 1A in North Mississippi and across Mississippi in general. So, yeah, it's exciting. To my knowledge, they've told me we've never beaten them, so what an accomplishment that would be, and that's what we shoot for, and just to kind of set the tone for the whole season for bigger and better things, hopefully.
Bowler got a couple of blocks. He's going to bust through. He's going to break three. One man to beat. Breaking tackle. And will finally get pushed out of bounds at around the 10-yard line. So a great job right there for the Biggersville Lions. Rousey shotgun takes snap and hands it off to Butler once again. Butler up the middle. Got some blocks. Going to be handed off to Butler. Round to the left side and he'll bust into the end zone. Bowler around to the left side, and he'll walk into the end zone once again.
Online transmission is ready, sir.
Live online at thezone1059.com and
Keep your radio turned on
to ESPN 105.9, The Zone.
There's a little high school football nugget for you. Jason just tweeted me, Neshoba Central at Vicksburg tonight. Keep an eye on Jarquez Hunter. Is this right? He broke Dupree's record for the most touchdowns in the state. What is that, in a career? Really? Thanks for the heads up, Jason. I'm Matt on this Free-for-All Friday with you in the Farm Bureau studio, Farm Bureau Insurance. Go with the home team. They are your home team. Farm Bureau Insurance. Jason in Flagstaff said, how Washington beat Washington State so often? Seattle versus Pullman.
That's a pretty good point.
One can recruit bona fide athletes on a national level. One cannot.
He said bona fide.
Yeah.
You can't think of bona fide without thinking of, oh, brother, where art thou? He's bona fide.
Mama says you ain't bona fide. What does that even mean?
Sorry, man. I don't mean to distract you, but
no, you're good.
I'm like a squirrel.
Yeah. Squirrel! Hey, but look, they threw him out of the Woolsworth, remember?
Yeah.
Out of the street, and that big, ugly, fat dude went, and stay out of the Woolsworth. There's so many throwaway lines in that movie that are great.
We ain't one at a time in here. We're mass communicating. Oh, yes. That's a powerful new force. Mm-hmm. Shake a leg, Junior.
Shake a leg, Junior.
Yeah, buddy.
That used to crack Roger up. I told him one day, I said, Roger, just do this just for fun. When you see Beaver walking through the hallway there at the radio station, just yell out at him and go, shake a leg, Junior, and see what he does. I don't know that he ever did it.
You don't tell your pappy how to cut the electorate?
Caught the electorate. Now, I don't know if they can say cracker on the radio, but...
I'm not here to make a record, you dumb cracker.
That's when Delmer said, hey, I don't mean to be telling tales out of school. There's a fella in there who'll pay you good money to sing into his can.
Yeah. I still think the best thing is right after the supposed Robert Johnson sold his soul to the devil, and Delmar, was baptized, and the other guy was baptized, and they're driving down the road, and Clooney's character says, well, it seems that I'm the only one here that remains unaffiliated.
Yeah, it was so well written. I mean, it really was. Yeah, I mean, he said bona fide. Yeah, okay, Washington everybody does bring that up. I mean, just go look at recruiting rankings. It's honestly Washington versus Washington State, two different universes for the most part. And everybody goes, and this is true. Well, Washington would rush 3 and drop 8 in their defense, and it fouled up the Mike Leach offense. Well, it ain't that simple. It's not the scheme that did it. It was the people that did it, okay? Washington State didn't play a whole lot of other teams in their Pac-12 schedule and elsewhere that were putting 2 and sometimes 3 defensive linemen who are all going to be drafted. I mean, Washington was really good up front. That's part of it. They just played better. All right. The personnel was different, though. Mike Leach's first year at Washington State, 2012, they beat Washington 31-28. After that, 2013, Washington won by 10, 27-17. Marcus Tuiasosopo was the head coach. Beginning in 2014, Chris Peterson was at Washington. Peterson's Washington team beat Washington State 31-13, 45-10, 45-17, 41-14, 28-15, and then last year 31-13. That ain't scheme, that's personnel. That's some blowouts in there. Okay. Let's go to the Davini Equipment phone line. Jeff hanging on today. What's up, Jeff?
Hey, Matt. Did you happen to see that ESPN where they ranked after last weekend the QBR for all the quarterbacks, one of the top 50 quarterbacks in the country?
No, okay. So after what? After last weekend, tell me what I need to know.
Top 10. It's no longer 3 in the SEC, 3 yards in the cloud of dust. We had 6 quarterbacks in the top 10.
Wow. QBR.
Out of the whole country.
And obviously, Trask, Costello, and Corral would be 3 of those.
That's true. But let me ask you this. You want to guess who's number 1? Number 1 in the whole country.
Number 1 in the whole country? QBR?
Yep. He's on the Heisman watch.
Well, help me out. Tell me.
SEC boy.
Okay, he's from the SEC, and he's on the Heisman deal. Was it not Trask?
You might have already said the name, but I just didn't.
Trask.
No, Mac Jones, Alabama.
You're kidding me, really? So he's number 1.
Here's the top 6. The top 6 in the SEC. That's Mac Jones. You got another boy from Alabama. He's number 5, Bo Nix.
Yeah.
5th in the SEC. We got 2 from Mississippi, believe it or not. That's in the top 10. And who do you think, of course, Matt Corral and KJ, where do you think they rank?
Well, if they're in the top 10, they got to be somewhere around 6 and 7, I guess.
Yep.
Okay.
What surprised me is KJ, I'm talking just the SEC, KJ is number 6 in the SEC. Matt Corral is number 4.
How about that? Yeah, and Corral,
so that being said,
Corral led everybody in completion percentage last week.
Yeah, just to give you the percentage, the breakdown, you got Mac Jones, number 1. Then you got, believe it or not, that the guy with the hat, Stetson. He's number 2 from Georgia. Number 3 is Trask. Number 4 is Corral. Number 5 is Bo Nix. Number 6 is KJ.
Okay. Yeah, KJ was 36 of 60, so his percentage is going to knock him back a little bit.
What hurt him, and it also includes fumbles.
Yeah.
So since Matt Corral is in the top 10 and number 4 in the SEC, here's a bold prediction: Ole Miss 34, Kentucky 20. I'm out.
Attaboy. Thanks for the call, Jeff. 34-20. So you got about 2 touchdowns, giving up some points, but scoring a lot more. I think you're right on. I think Ole Miss's offense is pretty good, and they're going to play some teams they can't stop. Florida, one of those, but I don't think Kentucky is one of those who has an offense you can't stop or anybody can't stop. I like the call. Houston, going to educate me just a little bit on Washington and Wazoo. What's up, Houston?
Hey, Matt.
Hey, man.
I just wanted to let you know. I'm going to be brief with this, but you've always done a fantastic job of doing what you're doing with Washington and Washington State, but it also rains a lot in Washington, and particularly in November, and it snows. So when it snows, it's harder to get control of the line of scrimmage with the passing game. And that's what makes Jimmy Lake's defense so competitive against Washington. That's one of the reasons. And another reason is Pullman is just about 3 hours either east or west of Moscow, Idaho, and it's very, very hard to get the main players from the state of Washington to Washington State. So that's something that we won't have a problem with in Starkville, is that he can basically recruit anywhere he wants within a 5-hour radius, and we are going to tear it up. I can guarantee you that.
Really appreciate the info, Houston. Hey, and it's great to hear your voice. Hey, Houston.
And I tell you what, we're watching you on TV right now, and you're doing a great job.
I appreciate that very much, Houston. Yeah, call me anytime. Hey, before I turn you loose, you care to make a prediction for tomorrow's game?
Oh, yes. I'm going to be a little bit more on the optimistic side. We're going to win 63-21.
Okay. All right, 63-21. So putting up some points. I appreciate the call, Houston. Enjoy the weekend, man. Thank you. Call me anytime. 63 points. And it is true. I mean, we could look up recruiting rankings. I could do that too. I mean, Washington big time out recruited Washington State up there, and it's two different deals there. One thing I wonder, Houston is right. At Mississippi State, Leach and that whole staff really are going to be recruiting in an area rich in talent, unlike anything they have experienced as a staff to this point. You look at NFL players that come out of Mississippi, per capita, they're right up there at the top of the country.
The closest thing Leach could have been to what he has now in this crop of athletes in Mississippi and the Southeast is when he was at Oklahoma. Yeah. That's the closest place he's been.
Yeah. Hey, you're right. You're right. Jason is making a prediction on Facebook. He says Mississippi State 49, Arkansas 6. I think I'm going to be really interested. You try to recruit evenly at all your positions. Make sure you're stocked up at all your positions. But I'll be interested to see if going forward, if they don't particularly focus on the defensive line and the defensive front, knowing that one way teams are going to constantly combat the air raid is to run the ball with their offense, which shortens the game and controls the clock. And so you got to be good up front. I'll be interested to see if that's what happens over the next 4 or 5 years. Hour 1 in the books, hour 2 coming up. Stay with me.
I'm actually going to head up to Biggersville, up in Alcorn County tonight. 1A Biggersville, they're 2-0 this year. Scored 60 points in their ball game last week, so they're off to a really good start. Been by there a bunch. You can see the school and the field from the highway. There's a school, a water tower, a barbecue place, and a Dollar General, and a lot of really good folks.
I started at Biggerville in the second grade in 1966, and I've been here since the second grade. So people in Biggerville have been so good to me. And the good Lord, I'm just really blessed by what I've been able to experience. After school Thursday, there was 28 kids out there, and we counted the orders after. We're just blessed to support the school, and they sure support me.
This is the busy night, like everyone's coming.
It's a close-knit community. I mean, they love the kids, and like I said, I've been in Biggerville for 60 years, and it's just a great place. I mean, great place to raise your family and kids and support the school.
Smithville, who's always kind of been a 1A powerhouse, hasn't played yet this year. They haven't been able to really really even practice as much because of COVID. So kind of an interesting dynamic because Biggersville has never beaten Smithville. At least that's what I'm told. So it's actually a huge opportunity for that community.
I was supposed to stay
I'll take
next week.
hamburger and
Monday.
Coke. You got any chips?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to tonight's game between the Biggersville Lions and the Smithville Seminoles. And what a game we have in store tonight as the 2-0 Lions take on the 0-0 Smithville Seminoles.
Well, let's see if the Lions can get their run game going with senior number 23, Goldman Butler.
So tonight's matchup getting ready to take place as the Biggersville Lions won the toss. They have elected to defer to the second half. We thank you all for tuning in to tonight's ball game.
Of course, Smithville brings tradition that people long for, and that's kind of what we long for here. You know, again, we're building it, but they've kind of set the standard, especially in 1A in North Mississippi and across Mississippi in general. So yeah, it's exciting. To my knowledge, they've told me we've never beaten them. So what an accomplishment that would be, and that's what we shoot for, and just to kind of set the tone for the whole season for bigger and better things, hopefully.
Bowler got a couple of blocks. He's going to bust through. He's going to break free. One man to beat. Breaking tackle. And will finally get pushed out of bounds at around the 10-yard line. So a great job right there for the Biggersville Lions. Rousey shotgun takes snap and hands it off to Butler once again. Butler up the middle. Got some blocks. Going to be handed off to Butler. Round to the left side and he'll bust into the end zone. Bowler around to the left side, and he'll walk into the end zone once again. As the Lions would take a commanding 14-0 lead early on here in this ball game.
There, baby. That looks great. Way to go. Hey. Good call. Good job, guys. Good. Way to go.
It's a hometown. It's just a big family. Everybody here knows everybody. Friday nights over the last 4 or 5 years have just increasingly become more and more exciting. You know, our team, these kids have grown, started in 8th grade and 9th grade as freshmen and played a lot of football and come a long way. This is a pretty good crowd. You know, we were limited on the number of tickets we can sell, so obviously normally there would be a lot more people here. But yeah, they definitely got a good crowd tonight.
Take snap and they're going to go to the air. They're going to throw deep. They might have a man. Intercepted again.
By number 8, Jarrell Jones. That's the second pick of the game.
2 3-and-outs, 2 interceptions for the Lions. They are turning on all cylinders tonight here, Devin, as they will get the ball back once again. Another opportunity here to score. Here is the clock going to tick down. 2-0. The Lions are going to take a dominant victory over the Smithville Seminoles, 64-0.
And I do think that this could be the Lions' year if they show dominance in their first 3 games, but it's still pretty early.
A great game tonight for the Biggersville Lions. We thank you all for joining us here. Signing off from the Lions Den. The final score is 64-0. The Biggersville Lions win. This is Lions sportscaster Aiden McAllister, joined with me by Devin Bullock. We thank you all for joining in. Thank you and have a good night.
In the studio. Online at thezone1059.com and on your radio at ESPN 105.9 The Zone.
All right, let's go. Hour number 2 of the show is off and running. I'm Matt in the Farm Bureau studio. Farm Bureau, go with the home team. Around here, we stay connected to you around the clock, not just while we're on the air, but even off the air. Maybe I'm tweeting or uploading or posting or Instagramming or live streaming or something when we're not on the air. Well, thanks to C Spire and their number one network here in the state of Mississippi, I'm able to do that wherever. Last night, thanks to C Spire, I was out at Nanawaya versus Noxapater down in Winston County. And JB, I'm walking around working and filming, and somebody got my attention. I turn around and look, and it's a familiar face, familiar face grinning at me from ear to ear. And
that had to be pretty cool.
It was DeCenzo Miller. That's right, former Mississippi State running back who BYU fans still can't understand how he wasn't ever tackled in that game. He refused to go down on some of those runs. And, of course, he had some big runs in that win over Steve Spurrier's Florida team and Rex Grossman and them back in 2000. But DeCenzo and I got to play together for a couple of years and handed him the ball some. Yeah, so it was really neat to see him. Took a selfie, tweeted it out because I had great coverage down there at Nanawaya. And let me tell you, buddy, let me tell you something. I know it's not far from Louisville. Nanawaya is out in the country. Y'all hear me? Really? It's out there. Hey, and just real quick here, I have to look up the other one. But recruiting averages, everybody's asking about Washington versus Washington State. I'll look up Washington here in just a second. This was one that tracked it up. This was a 5-year stretch from Mike Leach's second year at Washington State up through his last year, so 2014 to 2018. And his rank in the conference, in the Pac-12, his recruiting ranking in the Pac-12 was 10th, 7th, 11th, 12th, 9th. Overall, in that 5-year period of time, they averaged the 10th best recruiting class in the Pac-12. And I guarantee you Washington was pretty much near the top. I'll go back and find theirs. Hey, all right, here we go. Davini Equipment phone line. We'll start it off with phone calls here in hour number 2 as we get ready to preview high school football tonight, preview college football tomorrow. Hallelujah. First up is Lynn on the Davini Equipment phone line. Hey, Lynn, what's up?
Hello, State. Happy tomorrow Friday. How you doing, man?
Man, just right. Just right. Good to hear from you.
Hey, man, I just wanted, now we know State's going to score, and we know the defense played well last week, but we're going to face, I think, the third best running back in the SEC tomorrow. Mm-hmm. I think the team Boyd is probably right behind Najee Harris and Tyler Hill. I really believe that. He's good. So, are we going to be able to stop the run and get off the field to allow our offense to do what it did to LSU, which is basically control the clock? Right. If we can do that too, throwing the ball, we did it. We've proven we can do that.
Right.
So I think defense is going to be first and second down are going to be huge, so you can get them in a third and passing situation and make Felipe beat you. Because I don't think you can.
Yeah. You know, yes. I mean, what you're touching on, Lynn, is without question a part of their game plan coming in, and that is for Arkansas. I'm talking about, and that is. One of our best players is our running back. Let's just get him the ball a bunch and just see if our best players can make this a game against their players. And so part of that's going to be running the ball. They are going to feed it and feed it and feed it right into the heart of that defense early in that game. They're going to do it a lot. They'll have a plan.
Mississippi State, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I just going to say State made a living doing it for the entire history of the school. That's all we've ever done. Mm-hmm. So we know it's coming. Fortunately, I think our guys are still used enough to play in the run. They can handle it. But I just like, I wanted to hear what you thought about it. But, yeah, they're going to run the ball.
Yeah. They are definitely going to run the ball. I mean, there's just no
Great show,
question.
Matt.
Hey, thanks, Lynn.
I got to go get my bills. Thanks for taking the call.
Right. Yeah, man. Thanks for listening. Call me anytime. You know, it's Absolutely, without question, Arkansas is coming in to run the ball, to stay on the field, to force a defensive line to do something other than pass rush. They know they can pass rush. They feel like State's guys up front are undersized. Maybe they can wear on them as the game goes on, which would be a key to their offense staying on the field, therefore keeping State's offense off the field. There's no question that's going to be a part of their game plan. So tomorrow, until we see otherwise, I think there's a lot of pressure on State's defensive front. It'll be a different kind of game than what they had to play against LSU. I think they're plenty big enough at defensive tackle, but you're right. I mean, but size, to say that's a huge factor, it's not always. You got a three-man front, so you got one big guy in the middle. You got, Kobe Jones, who's playing at 260, 265 at one defensive end. Marquise Spencer playing at 265, 270 at the other. It's really about being good more so than it is about being big. But three-man defensive front against the run, a linebacker's going to have to get involved. They're just going to have to win a physical battle against the run. Tackle well, don't give up yards after contact.
What's your name?
Back over to the constant question of Washington State versus Washington. Mike Leach at Wazoo didn't have a whole lot of success against the Huskies. So we saw that during the heart of the time that Mike Leach was there, they were averaging somewhere around 10th in the Pac-12 in recruiting every year. Washington, let me give you an example of Washington last or currently. Like right now, if you look at them, Washington has a 1 5-star, 3 4-stars committed. Washington State didn't have any of either of those. I'm imagining that with Oregon and USC, I bet you Washington averaged somewhere in the neighborhood of 4th to 5th, maybe slightly better in the Pac-12 every year in recruiting. In 2019, Washington was 2nd in the Pac-12 in recruiting behind Oregon. They signed 15 4-star players. 2018, in the Pac-12, Washington was 3rd in the conference behind USC and Oregon. They signed 10 4-star players. Let me ask y'all a question. Is Mississippi State signing 10 and 15 4-star players in every recruiting class? Well, that's what Washington is signing. Okay. 2017, Washington was 5th in the Pac-12 in recruiting. They signed 9 4-star players. I know we got a call up, but we got time. I want to keep going. I'm going back to 2016. Let's just take a look real quick. In 2016 in the Pac-12, Washington signed 7 4-star players and were 6th in the conference. And then let's just go back one more year. We'll go back to 2015. Washington was right in the middle of the pack. 5 4-star players, the same as Stanford, 2 behind Arizona State. Oregon signed 6 plus 1 5-star. Washington State is just not in the ballpark. Again, look at that 2015 class. Washington State signed no 5-stars and 1 4-star player. And we're going, well, how does Washington keep beating them? Well, Washington signed 15 4-stars. One year they signed 10 4-star players and a 5-star. So that is one huge difference. And it's a big difference, okay? It just is. So to put it in perspective, when you and I have talked about this with Mississippi State and him taking his job at State, and JB, you and I have said, look, Mike Leach came to State and he's coaching better players in year one than maybe he's coached.
That's correct.
Well, it's true.
Yeah, ain't no doubt.
I mean, and look at
Saw
his
it last weekend.
Yeah, right. Look at the personnel on offense. I mean, Shavers is a legit high 4-star receiver coming out of high school. I know he didn't work out at Alabama, but he signed with Alabama. He's got ability. Kylan Hill's a 4-star, type of running back. He's got a 5-star offensive tackle at left tackle. He's never had those. He never had those at Washington State. So there's a little.
He never had a quarterback like he had in Minshew at Washington State.
Right. So there's a little of an apples and oranges type of deal here. Washington's recruiting is up here, and Washington State's was down here. Okay, it's just the way it is. All right, who's up? Danny? All right, Danny on the Davini Equipment phone line. Hey, Danny, thanks for calling. What's up?
Hey, Matt, this is Danny from Ringgold, Georgia.
Ringgold, Georgia. Good to hear your voice.
Well, I just got on Facebook a little while ago. I missed your first hour, so somebody may have asked this question already, but if so, I'll listen to the replay. I'm curious to know, after the way we played last Saturday, which was obviously much better than we needed to win, how do you get the team up for a team like Arkansas?
Yeah.
I mean, to me, the thing that scares me is these are trap games. I know it's early in the season, but it just seemed like it'd be so easy to overlook them. How does a coach get a team ready after a big win like last Saturday?
Yeah. Well, Danny, it absolutely is a phenomenon that you have to deal with when you're in college. You're coaching college kids, right? We've talked about the letdown during the week. All right, number one, you intentionally, as a coaching staff, you get mad as soon as you get back from the trip, okay? Now, it sounds a little old school, but Mike Leach is a little old school and understands it, is immediately you get mad at your team, you let them know, hey, when we get back here on Monday to begin our prep, or when we come back here Sunday to watch film, just get ready because the whole world tonight on Twitter is going to tell you how great you are. And I'm glad we won the game, but it's one game and it's behind you. And I promise you, when we watch this film, you're going to see that a bunch of you were out of position. We had a bunch of missed assignments. And if you keep doing that, we're going to get beat, okay? I'm not going to coach you as if you just went out and won the national championship. You know, if you want that, you need to transfer. You know, that's the kind of language that you're going to start hearing as soon as you get back on campus. And that's one thing. The other thing is this, and you touched on it, might be a little too early for it. I sense that it's a little too early in this whole abbreviated late kickoff season for folks to be looking past other teams. If we were talking about, let's say, week 4, and you got 3 behind you and you're 3-0, then I could see you're in a space where it can be that trap game. But being your first game at home, and this early in the year, I think there's still just a palpable excitement to be playing ball that I think probably, takes you past that. Now, Arkansas may come in there and win. They may outplay you. We don't know. But I think if State loses, it's not going to be because of looking past Arkansas. Not at this point in the year. That's what I think.
Okay. Well, I sure hope not.
Yeah. I know. I appreciate it, Danny. Hope you have a good weekend, man.
Hey, thanks, man.
Thank you. This comment from Zach Arnett, this was in his press conference this week. I think this was after Wednesday. It was either Tuesday or Wednesday's practice. Listen to how he talked about his football team.
Missed assignments, guys either going the wrong way or not executing the call or busting coverage where you got receivers running wide open. And thank goodness, one guy in the pass rush can make a Herculean effort and, reach out and hit the quarterback's arm and it leads to an interception instead of a touchdown. But, I know all of our opponents watching that film, they're chomping at the bit to play us on defense because they see a whole bunch of opportunities out there for big plays and points.
That's a little bit of reality, and he is right. They tried to give up some points, and LSU didn't take advantage of it the other day. And it's a little bit of coaching. It's a guy who knows, look, these kids better have their feet on the ground, and I'm going to do my part to make sure their feet are squarely on the ground. All right, Davini Equipment phone line. Chris, thanks for hanging on. What's up, Chris?
What's up, Matt?
Yo, good to hear from you.
Hey, I'm gonna first say that I'm gonna first answer a little bit of Danny's question there too. You know what they need to do is they'll go and turn that first quarter on that Alabama versus Arkansas game and say, hey, look, they may not have played like this for 4 quarters, but they played pretty daggum good in that first quarter.
You're talking about Arkansas, Georgia last week.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Oh, yeah, Georgia.
Yeah.
Georgia, that's right.
Yeah.
Right. And the thing about it is that you can't do that. But what was the Arkansas and Georgia game? What was the score of that game?
Yeah, it wound up like 32-10 or something like that. And here's the thing about that, Chris, and I know I don't want to get you off track on your thoughts, but Georgia's defense is for real. Okay, there are a whole lot of teams that are going to fight and scratch and claw to try to score 10 points against that Georgia defense this year, and that's just the truth.
Okay, so I'm going to give you a prediction, Matt.
All right.
How about this? How about we go 62-17 as the final score this weekend?
Okay.
That's going to be my prediction.
You actually are the second person who has predicted State scores 60-something points today on today's show.
Oh, I think we're going to see at least 500 yards out of Costello, and then I think we might see another 200 yards out of Ben Rogers. I just think that's going to happen because, I mean, I just don't. What did we see? We did see Georgia be able to throw the ball against these people. And what does Georgia not have last week?
Yeah.
I mean, they had a freshman quarterback that couldn't throw. I mean, they didn't have a quarterback. So, and I think we've got two of them at least. And if they both go down, we have a third displaying receiver.
Good Lord, look at this, Chris. As you say that, I just flipped over to the box score. I have looked at a lot of different things, and I've watched that Arkansas-Georgia game several times, but I have yet to go and look at this part of the box score. Listen to this. Okay, so as you mentioned, Stetson Bennett, former walk-on, he goes 20 of 29, 211 yards and 2 touchdowns. Okay, but then I look at the guys receiving category. Georgia had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 different players that caught passes. And of those 12 that caught passes, 8 of them caught multiple passes. You talk about spreading the ball around and playing some people. I didn't realize that they threw it to that many different guys.
Yeah. I mean, I just was watching it passing, too. I mean, I didn't even watch the whole game. That's like Alabama. I mean, I don't watch anybody but Mississippi State as far as paying attention.
Yeah.
And I watched a little bit of that Alabama game, and then that was it. I was like,
you know what, Chris?
And I watched a little
I'm
bit
getting
of that
to be
Georgia
the.
game, and I was like,
I'm getting to be the same way. I don't know if it's this year or what, but I found myself the other day like, if it's anybody but State, I kind of watch it a little bit, and then I walk away and do other stuff, and I usually just get bored with it no matter who it is. And it's like State games are the only ones I don't get bored with. Is that me like showing my age, or what is that?
no, it's just fandom, Matt. I mean, and it's just the fact that you don't really care too much about anybody else's team but your own. And I mean, I'm the same way with NFL people or even baseball. I mean, I'm a Braves fan like you, and I'm not going to sit down and dedicate my time to watch 4 hours of baseball if it's not the Braves. And I'm not going to sit down and watch anybody but the Cowboys play. Every now and then I'll sit down and just watch one on Monday night. That's because somebody else in the house is watching it and I don't have a choice.
Well, and you know what? I should say this too. Maybe it's because I host this show, but I don't think it's just that. But Southern Miss and Ole Miss, I actually stay interested watching them too. And I think it's partly because I know we talk about it on the show, but also it's like I know some of the players on both teams. I followed I followed John Rice Plumlee in high school. I covered his high school state championship game, so there's that familiarity. You know, same thing with some of the players at Southern Miss and some of the coaches. Having friends that are fans of those two, I think maybe that plays into it, just being here in Mississippi. So when they play, you know, I'll watch their games without getting bored. But man, I've in scouting Arkansas and being ready for this weekend, I've gone back and watched that game twice, Arkansas and Georgia. And, man, I struggle with it to not doze off, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Ole Miss game this past week was the first game that I've watched past the first quarter in a really, really, really long time that wasn't Mississippi State or the Cowboys. And, I mean, that's just who I am. But y'all have a great day, and I'll talk to you later.
All right. Appreciate it, Chris. And, JB, do you think Walking Bully could hang on so that we don't cut him short? Or did you think we ought to
I'll check with him and see, pal.
Yeah, see if he can do that. I know we got about a minute here till the music starts. I'd hate to short him on his time. He usually has really good calls. So I want to get to that. Yeah, 12 different players caught passes for Georgia. 8 of the 12 had multiple catches. Kyrus Jackson led Georgia with 6 catches for 62 yards. So, I mean, they really spread the ball around. And, the yardage doesn't really get up there in the pass game for Georgia against Arkansas's defense because they didn't throw it for anything in the first half. I mean, I could go back and look what it was. I mean, they put Bennett in the game in the second quarter. Isn't that when they put him in there? Yeah, they didn't wait till the second half. Well, regardless.
You mean irregardless?
Irregardless. Y'all, that brings up a good point. I want to say something on this show. And we need to talk about this before the hour is finished.
You got 23 seconds.
Coming up next, we'll get to Walking Bully's call. And then I'm going to make a statement. I want everybody to hear me. There is a difference between PA and play-by-play.
That's correct.
Public address in a football stadium, high school,
right.
Play-by-play on the radio. Those two things aren't the same, y'all. But there are way too many people that think they are the same. I experienced it last night. Tell you what I'm talking about. Coming up. And hang on, Walking Bully. We'll get right to you. I'm Matt in the Farm Bureau studio, Farm Bureau Insurance. Go with the home team. But don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
I am not saying by any stretch of the imagination that we're going to win tonight. I will say, Germantown's going to be a tough out for everybody this year. I don't blame you for picking Warren Central. History shows they'll win the game tonight, but I think we'll play them tougher than what people think we will.
And now Warren Central's good. Warren Central's good. Solid team. Like Germantown, this is the year they could do something. That's one of the biggest games tonight. If I could be at a game, that's where I would be. I'll be headed to Vicksburg tonight. Get to check out Warren Central hosting Germantown. Big 6A ball game. And, Germantown loaded with really good players. They're off to a 3-0 start. Warren Central, 3-0. It's a huge matchup. I can't wait to see that one tonight.
I think we're going goalpost to goalpost, sideline to sideline. Goalpost to goalpost, sideline to sideline.
Everyone's starting to reach the play tonight. Now Nick Barnes, I think, is going to check into the game alongside Branson Robinson. Harmer in shotgun formation. He's going to go to Nick. Nick gets a hold, and he breaks it to the 30, up to the 29-yard line. I'm looking for a big game for Nick tonight.
Thompson again, first and goal. Up and over. Is he in? Side judge running in. Touchdown, Vikings. There's the call. Late signal,
right through the trip.
There's the give. Trey Hall sweeping right side. Gets the block for the wide receiver. He's in the secondary. Down the right sideline. The chase is on. 30, 25, 20. Nobody's going to catch him. Trey Hall to the end zone. Touchdown. 80-plus yards for the Vikings.
86-yard run that time by Hall to
side. Here's the snap. They give it to TJ. Ball is on the ground.
Oh, wow.
Germantown says they have it. Germantown bench went nuts. Germantown does have the football. Everybody in tight for the Vikes. Quick drop. It's deflected in the air. Taylor Smith again. He's done it again. A pick six for Smith.
Second one of the season, Jared. He had one a couple of weeks ago, and Taylor Smith takes it in. great job by the Vikings tonight. You saw the halftime adjustments by Coach Josh Morgan and his team.
It's huge for right now. It's huge for down the road, guys. You set yourself up very nicely. Now, what we have got to focus on is we're going to enjoy this son of a gun. You hear me? We're going to enjoy it, guys. We're going to relish it. And we're coming back, and we're getting ready to get better.
Really outscored Germantown as they came out. Great defensive plays from Taylor Smith and Tevin Bell. And a wonderful job to close out this game for the Big Red.
With Jake Wimberly. Weekdays 3 to 6 p.m. Online at thezone1059.com and on your radio at ESPN 1059. The Zone.
Are you ready? Brace yourself.
Now back to the Matt Wyatt Show.
Georgia against Arkansas had 129 passing yards in the first half and 137 in the second half. Yeah, they did. They just didn't have much offense, man. But in the second half, they were 13 of 18, really efficient. 2 passing touchdowns, no interceptions. So not a lot of yards. But in terms of the actual ground they covered throwing the ball in the second half versus the first half, it wasn't a whole lot of difference, honestly. And then you look at it and you go, Georgia rushed for 48 yards in that first half against Arkansas. And then they rushed for another 73 yards in the second half. So they just had very little offense. And Bennett gave them some stuff in the pass game. They did hit some throws. Did it kind of against zone coverage of Arkansas. A couple of touchdowns mixed in there and go win the game. But you know, it was not an offensive day at all for Georgia. Quarterback starts it all. We get all that, but maybe Arkansas. Look, Barry Odom is as highly thought of as a defensive coordinator as anybody in the country in coaching circles. That's the fact. And I think another fact is nobody, regardless of who's playing quarterback for Georgia, figured that Arkansas's defense would go out there and stymie Georgia's run game. Well, they flat did it.
Yeah, I know we got Walking Bully hanging on, and maybe we can talk about this a little bit, but, you know, it's kind of like the text I sent you before the show. If you had to choose one game which Sam Pittman was going to coach him up against, did you not think it would be Georgia?
It's a really good point.
Did you not think that he would know their tendencies and the things that they would lean toward?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Really good point.
So that's why in the second half they tweaked it a little bit, but he was still able.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that I take from that is the fact that he knew how good those D-line guys are, and even in his knowing how good they are, he still couldn't stop them.
Yeah. Good stuff. That's a really good point. All right, Walking Bully is hanging on the Davini Equipment phone line, has been doing so patiently, and I appreciate it, Walking Bully. What's up, man?
Hey, Matt.
Hey, man.
So when I see Neil next, I should not refer to him as the PA guy for football games, is what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying. I know that there's sort of this, we kind of have this soft spot in our heart for these local PA, the PA announcer over the speakers in the stadium at your local high school or JUCO game, and that they think they want to do play-by-play. He's at the 10. He's at the 5. He goes out of bounds at the 3. Well, that's play-by-play. That's not PA. But,
right.
You know, at the same time, I would just say that everybody who does that, guys who do PA announcing, yet they speak through the speakers in the stadium as if they're on the radio doing play-by-play. Number one, they're not doing public address. They're doing something else. And number two, quite literally, nobody in that stadium wants to hear that over those loudspeakers.
If we're going to do that, I'd rather just hear Neil over the PA system if we're going to do that.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, I know you didn't.
Anyway.
Yeah, what's up?
No, the reason I called, you were going down the Washington's recruiting profile a minute ago. Do you know how many 4-star guys Leach signed the whole time he was at Washington State?
Well, in the 4 or 5 years I looked at right there, I could only see, I think it was 1, maybe.
There were 5 going back to 2012.
Okay, so 5 total in how many seasons?
Well, I went through 12. So 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19.
Okay, and you found 5 total 4 stars. And see, that's what I'm saying. Like there were back-to-back years while he was at Washington State. There were a couple of back-to-back years where Washington signed a grand total of 25 4-star players, and there was a 5-star or 2 mixed in there as well. And they did it in back-to-back years. And you're talking about the whole time Leach was there, he signed 5, you can count them on one hand, 5 4-star players. There was definitely a difference in personnel, no question.
Comparing that talent profile, I mean, that's like saying State beat Southern Miss because of, some X and O scheme, and it's just not the case.
You're exactly that is a great example. And when you use that type of example, because I got news for you, Walking Bully, the reason it's such a great example is it applies. The parallel applies. State's recruiting profile versus, say, a Southern Miss's. And to go, State only rushed 3 and dropped 8. That's why they beat Southern Miss. No, it's because State is signing classes of players that are, across the board, they're better players. So
that's right.
Really good point.
And I'll leave you with this. I'm fixing to head to Starkville, and I'm wondering what's going to be more crisp: the fall air, the air raid passes, or that country pleasing sausage they're going to have in the stadium tomorrow night for the first time.
Get some for me, is all I'm saying.
Yes.
Hey, Walking Bully, I have never left the press box to go to the concession stand because there's generally food and drink in the press box, right? But knowing that about 20 feet below me, they are selling fresh, hot, as you say, crisp, country pleasing sausage, I may walk down there and get in line. Hey, Neil, I'll be right back.
Speaking of which, I'm headed down 49.
Say what?
I was going to ask you one more thing. With the social distancing stuff, are y'all going to be doing a show after the game somewhere tomorrow night, like to do, or is that Nick's now?
Walking Bully, I don't know.
Well, you better figure that out between now and tomorrow night.
I have sat right here all week, and all I have thought about is what we're doing during the game, and I have not asked nobody has told me not to go to Bulldog Burger for the post game, but maybe I need to be asking that question. Doggone, man! Thank you for the heads up.
Well, if you're at Bulldog Burger, I'll come by and find you. We're going to be there tomorrow night. So.
Okay. Well, I'll tweet it as soon as I find out something. I'll tweet it out. Maybe that'll help you.
Sounds good. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Can you believe that? He asked me, "Hey, you going to do the normal post-game show at Bulldog Burger?" And that is the first time it's even crossed my mind, JB.
That's all right, man. You got a lot going.
I do. The last 2 or 3 days, I honestly don't know how to explain it, and a lot of it's my own doing. I am going to text Bart Gregory right now while we're on the air. Normal post-game show? ? And see what I get back from Bart. Walking Bully, and I appreciate your call, and thanks for hanging on as long as you did. Yeah.
That's a great point he made about the recruiting between Southern Miss and you could say Ole Miss or State, for that matter of fact, just because they're in the SEC.
Yeah.
That footprint.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's it. I mean, find me a school who is signing multiple 4-star players every signing class and the occasional 5-star, who is at times signing double-digit 4-star players in its classes. There are plenty of those types of schools in the Power 5. Find those and then compare them to a school that over the course of 8 to 9 years signed a grand total of 5 4-star players. And then tell me what their records are against each other. That's a threshold of talent differential that once you go past it, you kind of throw scheme out the window, son. to me, JB, it shines an even brighter light on what a great job they did with their scheme at Washington State.
Right.
I mean, they beat Oregon some.
Well, you think about the other coaches, Mike Price that had been there, others before. There were times that Washington State would, raise its head up and be a, back in when they played the 11-game season, an 8-3, a 9-2, sometimes maybe even a 10-1, but they never really could, build upon that and do it multiple years in a row.
That's right.
Where I've been to Pullman, Washington, I've been to Seattle a few times. Pullman, Washington is almost as bad as going to South Bend, Indiana. There is nothing.
Ain't nothing there.
I mean, absolutely. NOTHING, nothing there.
The Nothing. Remember Never Ending Story? Remember that movie?
Yeah.
And the bad guy was The Nothing.
The Nothing.
There's some writers who found a cop-out. How do we have an antagonist? I don't know. Oh, I know what it is. It's nothing. What do you mean it's nothing? It's just nothing. There's nothing coming to get you. Oh, so we don't have to hire an actor. We don't have to do special effects. That's right.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, and if you're paranoid, just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not out to get you.
Yeah. Think about it. Paranoia. All right, how about this from Tiger Dog earlier in the show? He said, hey, man, I saw Refrigerator Perry put on a dunk show in Littlejohn Coliseum at Clemson. Love your show, Tiger Dog. How about that? Refrigerator Perry in a dunk contest. I would pay to see that 30 years ago or more. 40 years ago. It was 40 years ago. All right, look. I'm behind on the Country Pleasing text line, so it's about to be rapid fire when we come back. Jeremy, Don, Kyle, Norman, Delta, Denzel, Jam, Ready Teddy, Jason, Fletcher, on and on and on. Coming to all y'all next. Stick around.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
Bull. There's a lot of that out there in the wireless world. But C Spire believes that you deserve a plan that is what it actually says it is. Here's the real deal. The best plan for 1 or 2 lines. Unlimited talk and text with 10 gigabytes of high-speed data. And here's the real deal. $45 per line with auto pay and paperless billing. Even without auto pay, it's just $50. Now, how's that for the fine print? No bull. That's the real deal. Switch to C Spire today at cspire.com/real deal. C Spire, customer inspired. Man, that sounds like summertime in Mississippi, doesn't it? You know what else just screams summertime in Mississippi? Country Pleasing sausage from Country Meat Packers in Florence. Check me out. Jalapeno and cheddar. Just got it at Kroger in Tupelo where I live. On grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast. Cut it up, throw it in the frying pan, put it on a bun. Get some andouille, make some gumbo. It is the best sausage you've ever put in your mouth. Country Pleasin' Sausage, countrypleasin.com. It is made up of hand-picked hams, bacon, and pork loin. That's why it tastes so good. I even got this cool hat from them. Check them out. Go by the butcher shop there in Florence, or order it online, or look for it in grocery stores. Walk up in there and say, Country Pleasin', please.
A lot of people in the equipment world, things kind of go in trends, I guess, if you want to say it. So kind of the first big thing for 2020 that we look at when we start evaluating our business is going to be our turf equipment. That's kind of the first big push, because once the water dries up and the grass starts growing, this is what everybody's looking to get. We carry the new Wright stand-up mower. Doesn't look like much and it's dirty as all get out. But this thing is, and it costs just as much as zero turn. Not a cheap unit at all. I mean, if you go out there and look at that zero turn, this thing right here, I mean, it's got all your components from your big pumps to your commercial engine to your large steel deck. And these guys were the first ones to make the standard mower.
Hey, are you buying land or selling it? You need to let Matt Anderson with National Land Realty help you out. Matt Anderson Properties. Here's what Matt can do. If you're buying land, you can view the property without ever setting foot on it. They've got the 360-degree interactive drone touring. It's really cool. You got to check it out. And if you're selling property, Matt's going to get you consistent reports, comprehensive reports of who's looking, how many people looked at your listing. You need to let him help you. Matt Anderson Properties with National Land Realty. Call him, 601-408-5155. Hey, if you listen to the show, you know that the third hour, the new third hour,
right here on the Matt Wyatt Show.
Back at you. Here we go. Rolling along with you on a free-for-all Friday. It's a fun show so far. Loads and loads of text messages and loads of calls. I'm really enjoying hearing from y'all today on the Divini Equipment phone line. Divini Equipment in Madison and in Jackson. You're a Kubota dealer. You want to call me? Do so, 995-1059. 601-995-1059. Let's get Ryan in here, then we'll jump over to the text line. Ryan on the phone. What's up, Ryan?
Hey, you were talking about the PA announcers trying to, be like broadcasters earlier.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I had a funny story because it'll be pretty quick. But my dad does he does broadcasting for one of these local schools down here in Vicksburg.
Okay.
And we went to they were playing somebody down around like Farmersville, Louisiana.
Okay.
And it was like the first game of the season for them, and every single time the guy would go like, he would be like, saying like what type of offense they were in, and he was like, so we got receivers out to the side, and then everybody was always looking up at him, and somebody came up there and they said, what do you think, you're John Madden or something? And he said, Yeah, I'm trying to be John Madden. And I went over to him and I said, well, if John Madden was here, I can guarantee you, well, he probably wouldn't do something like that.
So you threw your John Madden impression at him. How'd that go over?
Mm-hmm. He looked like deer in the headlights.
Yeah. Well, Ryan, my only thing is I don't mind people, their passion for it, wanting to do play-by-play announcing over the PA, but my deal is most of the time it's not very good, and two, it's very distracting, and it totally disrupts the people who are there to do a radio broadcast, right? And
oh yeah,
I've heard that a bunch. How many times have you turned on a local high school radio broadcast and you're trying to listen to the announcers do the game on the radio and you can't even hear them because the PA announcer is constantly doing play-by-play over the speakers and interrupting everything. Nobody wants to hear it. That's the thing they don't understand. I don't understand how we ever got to a point where PA announcers thought that's what they're supposed to be doing. But anyway, hey, Ryan, thanks for the call. I was talking to my dad last night. JB, Dad's the one who sent me that message yesterday and said,
yeah,
I can't believe how many people don't know the difference between invasive and indigenous. So last night I told him, I said, well, it's like the difference between PA and play-by-play. PA ain't play-by-play, or vice versa. PA is public address. That is, ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the national anthem, played by the, Prattville High School marching band. Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention. First down, Ole Miss. And that's it.
I knew that was coming.
I have a Glenn.
First down.
Yeah, I have that's my Glenn Waddle. First down, Ole Miss.
Hey, even if you don't like it, you got to like it.
Well, but that's PA.
It's indigenous to them.
That's directing the public. You are addressing the public. It is public address. Radio is where the man tells the people listening to the radio what's happening. Guess what? Because they can't see it. Somebody listening to the radio can't see that it's
they're
first
watching
down.
It, but rather not listen to the people that are doing the play-by-play.
I went to a JUCO game one time, and the public address guy did radio. He did play-by-play. He talked to people in the stands. He introduced people who walked up into certain sections of the stands. Ladies and gentlemen, please turn your attention down here to my left. Madam so-and-so, English professor at such and such community college. Y'all give her a round of applause. He's telling people to give her a round of applause, and we got a play going on the field. I've never seen it. Why? Here's my thing about it. We appreciate your passion. Public address in the stadium on the speakers is not for play-by-play. You want to tell me so-and-so on the tackle, ball at the 25, penalty on so-and-so. You want to tell me that? That's PA. You ain't doing play-by-play.
So you're telling them to stay in their lane, basically.
Well, what I'm saying is nobody in the stadium.
Do your job, not somebody else's.
Do your job. I've heard funny stories. All right. Somebody told me a story about a guy doing public address, or, over the speakers in the stadium, doing play-by-play, and who even during the game went, they got a man wide open in the flat to the left, and the quarterback turned and threw it to the flat to the left. And I also had, my dad told me this story, the school he used to work for, he used to coach at. Their PA man, he's doing play-by-play on the public address. So-and-so under center. He throws it out to the left. And then at some point on the public address, JB, openly out loud questioned the play call of the coaches on the sideline.
He forgot to turn the mic off.
No, he didn't forget.
No, he did it on purpose.
Did it.
He goes, what was he thinking when he did that call?
This man got fired and never came back to another game.
Wow.
His heart was in the wrong place. All right, here we go. I promised we'd get to the text line, but I don't want to make Matt and others on the phone line hang on any longer. Matt, thanks for being patient. Davini Equipment Phone. What's up?
How you doing, Matt?
Great, as far as I know.
And I caught the tail end of your discussion on recruits and stars and trying to, find people that are good to fit into a system based on stars, I guess. What is your opinion on recruiting services and stars?
Well, it's not definitive. It's not exact. It's an evaluation. The easiest players to evaluate are the best ones. You go, 5 stars. Well, you can see a 5-star from the moon, Obviously. 4 stars, they add up. Because this is what I think. Early on, it wasn't this way. But now, over the last 10 years, it's become increasingly where the recruiting services are following the coaches around. And the coaches know who the players are by and large. Not always, but by and large. And so, it's more of it's an inexact science, but it's a cumulative thing to me. If you tell me that a team out here signed 15 4-star players like Washington did one year, well, guess what? About half of those are real good. And if you don't sign any, then you don't have any 4-stars who are real good. Is that too vague?
I mean, it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah. What do you think?
Well, to me, you've got programs, Texas A&M, Texas, a lot of programs like that have plenty of money. That's not not a problem. They have the facilities. That's not a problem. But yet, right now, they're recruiting, but they're not recruiting, to me, players that make them extremely, to put them at that top level that they're being, that Texas A&M, any of the other, well, LSU, they do have talent, but it's awful young right now. But I just think that saying that if you have 15 4-stars, yeah, you have some talent, but that doesn't necessarily translate to play on the field.
Yeah, I think, no, that's absolutely true. There are underachievers and overachievers every year. And in fact, I don't think there are any in between. I think every team and coaching staff with their talent is one or the other. They either overachieve or they underachieve. You got to make sure you're right. Yeah. So I agree with you on that. There's no guarantee on it. But I think wouldn't we be naive, or not? Maybe naive is not even the right word. Wouldn't we be stubborn to look at recruiting and not admit that accumulating players who are 4- and 5-star players according to the recruiting services doesn't pay off? Well, frankly, it does. It's just it pays off in varying degrees based on how they're coached. I think that's the hard part about this. And yes, okay, let's look at State. Let's look at Ole Miss. You want to go run down Alabama and Clemson? You want to go run them down from behind and all of a sudden jump yourself into their level consistently? Yeah, recruiting's messy. It's risky. It's dangerous as long as the NCAA exists when recruiting is what it is. And I think what it takes, Matt, it takes years of climbing the ladder to prove that you belong there, so that when you all of a sudden are signing 2 and 3 5-stars per class, nobody bats an eye at it. But when you go from nobody's heard from you in decades or cared, and all of a sudden you sign all the 5-stars, well, you just jumped on the highway and started speeding down the highway at 140 miles an hour. We got to pull you over. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying there.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I have a problem sometimes with recruiting stars, because I've seen kids that have played high school that I've seen actually in high school and half know them sometimes. And they're great kids.
Matt, we got to split, man. Thanks for the call.
Okay.
Let nothing stand between you and the tree stand with this.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
bull. There's a lot of that out there in the wireless world. But C Spire believes that you deserve a plan that is what it actually says it is. Here's the real deal. The best plan for 1 or 2 lines. Unlimited talk and text with 10 gigabytes of high-speed data. And here's the real deal. $45 per line with auto pay and paperless billing. Even without auto pay, it's just $50. Now, how's that for the fine print? No bull. That's the real deal. Switch to C Spire today at cspire.com/real deal. C Spire, customer inspired. Man, that sounds like summertime in Mississippi, doesn't it? You know what else just screams summertime in Mississippi? Country Pleasing sausage from Country Meat Packers in Florence. Check me out. Jalapeno and cheddar. Just got it at Kroger in Tupelo where I live. On grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast. Cut it up, throw it in the frying pan. Put it on a bun. Get some andouille, make some gumbo. It is the best sausage you've ever put in your mouth. Country Pleasing sausage, countrypleasing.com. It is made up of hand-picked hams, bacon, and pork loin. That's why it tastes so good. I even got this cool hat from them. Check them out. Go by the butcher shop there in Florence, or order it online, or look for it in grocery stores. Walk up in there and say, Country Pleasing, please.
A lot of people in the equipment world, things kind of go in trends, I guess, if you want to say it. So kind of the first big thing for 2020 that we look at when we start evaluating our business is going to be our turf equipment. That's kind of the first big push, because once the water dries up and the grass starts growing, this is what everybody's looking to get. We carry the new Wyatt stand-up mower. Doesn't look like much, and it's dirty as all get out. But this thing is, and it costs just as much as zero turn. Not a cheap unit at all. I mean, if you go out there and look at that zero turn, this thing right here, I mean, it's got all your components from your big pumps to your commercial engine to your large steel deck. And these guys were the first ones to make the standard mower.
Hey, are you buying land or selling it? You need to let Matt Anderson with National Land Realty help you out. Matt Anderson Properties. Here's what Matt can do. If you're buying land, you can view the property without ever setting foot on it. They've got the 360-degree interactive drone touring. It's really cool. You got to check it out. And if you're selling property, Matt's going to get you consistent reports, comprehensive reports of who's looking, how many people looked at your listing. You need to let him help you. Matt Anderson Properties with National Land Realty. Call him, 601-408-5155. Hey, if you listen to the show, you know that the new third hour of the Matt Wyatt Show is brought to you by Overstreet Properties in Starkville. Here's what you need to know. If you're looking for a weekend home or condo, full-time residence, investment property, maybe just an apartment to lease, you got a student going to school at state, call Kane Overstreet at Overstreet Properties. In Starkville, it's 323-8618, or look them up online, overstreetproperties.com.
This is the Matt Wyatt Show. Talking about sports from around the world and right here at home. Streaming to you at the Zone 1059.com and on your radio on ESPN 105.9. The Zone.
All right, here we go. Hour 3 of the show, the final hour of the week for us here on the Matt Wyatt Show. I'm Matt, JB here. Most importantly, you are here. I appreciate you listening in, tuning in, however, wherever. So hit me up. Lots of different ways to do that. If you're listening to the live stream or watching it, comment. I can see all your comments on Facebook, Periscope, YouTube. Hey to y'all. Hats off. Also, tweet me on Twitter. I'm Radio Wyatt. Got the text line wide open to you, the country-pleasing text line, 885-ESPN. I got some catching up to do with y'all, so I'll be coming to you real quick here soon. Probably start off with Jeremy. He sent a tweet or text, and I have saved it because I want to get to that content coming up. First, though, Bernard's been hanging on for quite some time on the Davini Equipment phone line. Davini Equipment in Madison and in Jackson. I think this is in regards to the whole difference between PA and play-by-play in high school football games. What's up, Bernard?
Hey, how's it going? Now, you try doing all. I had the ability to doing all of them because I do some PA announcing for a local high school here in Jackson, and I also do online stream. So sometimes it can get quite confusing. Which hat you have on, and you're announcing, especially on the PA. Sometimes I just did a game play-by-play. Then I got to go to PA, and so it get quite confusing sometimes which one I'm doing.
Wait a minute, Bernard. You're not saying that you do them both at the same time, are you?
No.
Okay.
No, not at the same time. No. I'm just saying, you leave a game doing play-by-play, then hey, you ain't gonna do some PA.
Right.
Just get confusing. Hey, you're in your PA mode or you're in your play-by-play mode, and yeah, it get quite confusing.
I guarantee I can see that I could see how that could very easily happen if you're doing both. No question.
Yeah, especially with basketball. I was an announcer for basketball, just announcing the starting lineup. And sometimes, how a big play going, like so-and-so for 3.
Yeah.
I had the official come to me and say, well, now, you can't do that now. I'm like, wow. That's still getting the crowd inside into the game. But
right. Yeah.
It's quite confusing, especially when you're doing multiple sports. So I do baseball, basketball, and football.
Right. Well, and you wear that many hats. I mean, it just seems like it's natural that every now and then you might, you're doing PA, but your brain kind of flips back over into play-by-play mode, which I can totally understand. That's interesting.
Yes.
Bernard. Well, and like I say, who knows the background? I just have always felt that if you go to a high school game, and I've seen it in junior college as well, where it's kind of a constant sort of broadcast, like as if I were listening to the radio, but the guy is doing this on the PA in the stadium. It just seems out of place. Like it's not what it's for. You know what I mean? I think, and it's interesting to me that we have as much of it as we do, because a lot of people do that.
Yeah, it's like I said, someone wants to be the play-by-play announcer, but they didn't get the opportunity to do it, so they stuck them in the PA. So hey, well, I'm gonna do my play-by-play here.
That's right. Yeah, and like I said, I don't know if you heard this a while ago, but I had somebody yesterday tell me the story of a man that was doing that. He was doing play-by-play as if he's broadcasting, but doing over the PA in the stadium. And he got carried away, and he actually, this is a home game, he actually criticized a decision that his coaches made over the PA in the stadium. And
well, yeah, that is grounds for termination.
Yeah.
or removal, excuse me.
Right. I mean, they removed him, and he got his feelings hurt. But I'm thinking, like, what are you going to do? You can't have that. You just can't let that go on. So.
No, I got one for you.
All right.
Well, I said I'm a JPS graduate. I graduated from Florida Theater.
Okay.
And I said I do some not play-by-play, PA announcing for JPS Athletics.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're familiar with the stadium on Forest Hill campus, it's not actually the Forest Hill High School stadium. It's the district, and other schools in the district play at that field.
Okay.
So I announced the games at that particular field. So again, I'm a graduate of Forest Hill, and our rival is Wingfield.
Mm-hmm.
So Wingfield is the home team, and my high Forest Hill is the visiting team. So I got to pump up the crowd to support Wingfield. And so I get kind of chewed out by some of my alumni. I said, hold up, you're cheering for Wingfield. Hey, I have to pump up the home team crowd. So that was kind of odd. And sometimes I had to catch myself and say, go Patriots. I said, hold up, no, I'm doing for Wingfield, the home game. So you had to catch myself a couple times.
That's
so, yeah, great. No, that is a very interesting story. And yeah.
Well, I mean, it's another example of whether you're, if you use your voice in any kind of professional arena, radio or whatever, there are times when you draw that professional line where you separate the personal from the professional. And some people don't understand that. Hey, listen, that is similar, Bernard, to what I've gotten a lot of times in my broadcasting career on this radio show, doing ball games. If I am complimentary of an Ole Miss player or an Ole Miss coach, every time there are State fans who will react negatively and tell me I'm not a true Bulldog or talk about me or something like that, all because I said something, and they don't understand. There's a clear separation of personal and professional sometimes.
Yeah, it is. And like I said, the average fan don't understand the person like that. Hey, I support my school. I support them dearly. However, this is the professional side of me, and I have to, hey, this is my job. This is what I signed up for. So I am going to have to compliment a rival team player, or I'm going to have to say something about them. Like I said, but I'm not trying to be directly negative, because that can take me out of position from a lot of other opportunities.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, good stuff, Bernard. Thanks for the call, man.
I appreciate it, man.
Yep, call me anytime. How about that? If you do radio and PA at different times, that would be very easy to be sitting in front of that microphone and forget that you're not on the radio, you're doing PA at that particular time. Caleb
I got in trouble one time when I was doing Clinton music and songs in PA. We had an ad that we would read the ads in between every inning, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there was a horrible call at the plate, strike them out, throw them out.
Mm-hmm.
Strikeout wasn't even close to being a strikeout, and then they threw the guy out at third on the steal. And the first ad that I read coming back after the top of the inning was, and now Optical 2000, if your eyes are in need of, and within 5 minutes the AD was in the broadcast booth.
He thought you did it on purpose.
Oh yeah, he goes, Brother John, we can't be doing that. And I went, well, that was the ad that was up next. And he goes, well, next time you need to be smart enough not to read that ad.
Move that one down the list.
Yeah.
But, Brother John?
Yeah, I was chastised.
Well, that was
wasn't
harmless.
the first time, though. Well, yeah.
That was harmless.
But, I had the Three Blind Mice track.
Here's the thing about it, JB. Here's the way I have always looked at criticizing referees and officials.
Yeah.
You never let it go belligerent. I mean, it's all about the game, so it's not personal. But I've always thought, okay, look, I chew myself out when I screw up. I do.
Right.
I do. Internally, sometimes I say it out loud. I chew myself out if I mess up bad enough. Why can't I chew them out too?
Right. You have high expectations.
That's right.
Do your job. Yeah. The other time I got kicked out of a Dizzy Dean tournament game, it was at 2:00 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
It had rained a lot, and I was sitting behind the catcher and the umpire, and he was gosh awful, especially at 2 in the morning. And I just made the comment to our catcher. I said, "Hey Heath, man, why don't you use your mitt and dust that plate off so he can see it better?"
Mm-hmm.
He turned around and looked at me. Mm-hmm. He said, "I've heard enough out of you. You are gone." And he also threw the manager out, our high school coach. So he threw him out. Mm-hmm. And then we had to play a semifinal game the next day. And the coach came to me. He goes, man, I can't coach because you got me thrown out. And I said, well, that's okay, man. We'll be there for the finals.
Man. I think one of the best that I ever came up with to get thrown out of one is the intramural softball. I'm all over his case. And he said, hey, look, I'm doing the best I can. And I said something that my dad has said to me many times. Hey, if your best isn't good enough, somebody's asking too much.
I thought you were going to call him Ray Charles or something.
See ya. That's your best?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me get over here. Country Please and text line 885-ESPN. It's time to rapid fire catch them up. I got one from Jeremy. Here's a quote from the Washington defensive coordinator on playing Leach. he's going to have to be more creative against good defensive coordinators. Listen to this quote. This was from Jimmy Lake, the Washington defensive coordinator. Good gracious alive. He said, "We know what type of offense we're playing. They do the same thing year in, year out. This is 5 years in a row now, so it makes it really easy to game plan when an offense does the same thing every year. Obviously, and now with the snowy conditions, and they can only do one thing, meaning throw the ball, that handcuffs you a little bit. So it was definitely to our advantage, and we took advantage of it." Listen to this part of the quote. "It does surprise me," meaning they haven't done anything different, "but knowing what I read about the head football coach here, Washington State, he does things a little bit different. He does things in a little bit different way, so hopefully he remains here for a long time. That would be awesome." Good Lord. They didn't like each other, did they? Don in Madison. "Matt, the Cow Barn was the animal husbandry building where they had the rodeos and concerts. I saw ZZ Top in the Cow Barn. Very cool. Does it still exist on Mississippi State's campus?" Kyle said, "Oh, Matt, the Arkansas talking heads are saying that Arkansas has to follow the Washington formula. I just see if they only rush 3 and drop the rest or go zone, Mr. Hill will be fed the ball." Yeah, I mean, I think it is a little bit, what am I saying here? How do I say this? Knowing what to do is about 2/3 of the battle. The other 2/3 are being able to do it and doing it. Okay? Does that make sense? Knowing what to do is 2/3 of the deal here. So, you okay, JB? You all right? He's getting
Sorry about that, man. I thought I had the cough button on.
You getting a little verklempt over there? Hey, so let me let me give you a basic example right here. I'll reiterate, remember this when it comes to playing defense, offense, anything. Knowing what to do is only I totally said it wrong. Knowing what to do is 1/3 of the equation. The other 2/3 are being able to do it and actually doing it. Okay? So let's say, Kyle, that you are 5.5 feet tall and you have a cereal box in your hand in your kitchen. And that cereal box must go on the top shelf in the pantry. You can't reach it. You know what to do. Got to put that cereal box on the top shelf. But the other 2/3 are this. Are you capable of doing it? And do you do it? Well, we've already gotten to the second part. You can't do it. You got to go get a ladder. You got to get somebody else to do it. You can't reach it. See what I mean? Well, let's go to another example. Kyle, you are 6.5 feet tall. You're 6'5". Same scenario. Got a cereal box, need to put it on the top shelf of the pantry. You know what to do. It's got to go on the top shelf. You are capable. You can do it. You're 6'5". You can reach it. But you just sit the cereal box on the counter and walk away. You see what I'm saying? None of those accomplished it. One was out of your control. One was within. So when Arkansas, go tell them, Kyle, when Arkansas says we got to follow the Washington formula. That's it. Then you beat them. Well, hold on. You may know what to do, or think you do. But tell me this, the two most important things. Are you capable of doing it? And even if you are you going to do it? See, now we're kind of getting down to the nuts and bolts. Norman says, Matt, what would give you as the balance for the state offense output tomorrow? More rushing yards this week, I guess. I'll go with 400 passing, 150 rushing. Bulldogs win 42-20. That's from Coffee Norman. I promise you this. Yeah, I mean, go ahead and circle that right now. Go ahead and circle it right now. If you get 400 passing and 150 rushing, you win the game. You get 400 and 150, you're going to win most games. Caleb is hanging on the Davini Equipment phone. Hey, Caleb, what's happening?
Man, Matt, nothing much. How are y'all doing today?
As far as I know, we're doing well. So you're headed to call the PCS game, huh?
Yeah, it's a long road trip today, about 2 hours out of Hattiesburg over in Amy City, Louisiana.
Wow.
So it's actually a district game. They're in MAIS.
Is that Oak Forest you're going to, Caleb?
Yep, Oak Forest. That's it.
Tell Jason Brabham I said hello.
Will do. I tell you, y'all were talking about public address and PA announcers. It made me think of a guy that I'd run into over high school, different trips over the years. And think about Daryl Palmer, the PA guy for the M Braves. He also doubles as the public address guy at Northwest Rankin. And while he's doing that, he's also their color analyst on the radio side.
So he's doing both at the same time?
He's got a mute switch down there for his headset that he's got on, and then his public address microphone is standing by. Then he does play-by-play on the road. It's crazy.
That is crazy. That is incredible. Hey, get this, Caleb. I got a message. You know what? I started doing these Friday night high school kind of docu-style videos, right? And after I started that, I've had a lot of people reach out to me about coming to their place and doing that. I had a person reach out to me from a school up around Nashville, and I think I'm going to do it at some point this month. I'm going to go up there because one of the cool stories is they have a PA announcer, a young man who is blind.
Wow.
Yeah, he's blind, but he does their PA announcing at their games. And I didn't ask any questions as far as like getting details on how that works, what the chain of command is on that. But yeah, think about that. It's got to be a neat story. But anyway, I'm gonna try to go up there and see that at some point soon.
That'd definitely be awesome. I can't wait for that video to come out. Hey, by the way, keep your eye. I just wanted to throw this out there because of the game tonight. But PCS now has the leading rusher in the country in Marquise Crosby with 1,465 yards through 6 games.
How much?
1,465 through 6 games.
Wow. 6 games. Don't get me doing math on that. I'm bad at math. As people have already pointed out that I said 2/3 of the battle is knowing what to do. The other 2/3 is being able.
I'll do quick math for you. That's 244 a game.
244 a game. Come on, man. That's outstanding. Very cool. Well, listen, safe travels, Caleb. It's always good to hear your voice, man.
Hey, good to hear y'all.
Yep.
The way on the trip.
Yep. Thank you. Thanks for listening. Y'all call me anytime. Caleb Hamill, one of the up-and-comers in the play-by-play biz. There's another guy who knows the difference between play-by-play and PA. They're not the same thing. And yeah, somebody got me. Who was it? This is great. Unnamed texter said, that's some Yogi Berra math right there. 2/3 is knowing what to do. The other 2/3 is knowing how to do it. Yeah, go run with that and credit it back to me. I don't care. That's fine. You know what I meant. I hope you do. 1/3 of the equation is knowing what to do. The other 2/3 are being capable of doing it and actually doing it. There we go. I got it right that time. True Maroon on the Country Pleasing text said there was a PA guy for a JUCO team on SportsCenter that threw him out of the game for playing 3 blind mice. That sounds just like something JB would do. It really does.
Are you casting shadows, man?
Well, no, you just said that you did that. You said that you...
Yeah.
Yeah, well, telling them they need to go for their next eye appointment is about like playing 3 blind mice.
Well, and the other part of it is, if you get out there and you're going, Stevie Wonder can umpire better than you can.
Yeah, right. Hey,
that's usually not a good way to endear yourself to the blue.
No, it's not. Hey, ref, you're missing a good game.
Yeah.
Chicken Hawk. Thanks for the text. Hope you have a great weekend. PRG on the call about 5 stars and 4 stars. He said, this guy, he reads Gene's page too much during the Mullen era. How about that? Yeah, the recruiting during the Mullen era was always an adventure, but one thing you can't say about it is it didn't work, because it did. It did. Jason in Flagstaff. JB is right. We took some tanks from Fort Lewis to a National Guard range in Boise one year, straight through Pullman, and except for the college, there's nothing there. Can't you say that about a lot of college towns, though? Not all, but a lot.
You could have said that about Starkville and Oxford in the mid-'80s.
Sure.
You know?
Mm-hmm. No doubt. Man, I tell you, Starkville, not familiar with Oxford until, started going there recently more often in my life. I say recently in my life, within the last 10 years or so. Prior to that, I spent almost no time there, and I certainly didn't know anything about it in the 80s, so I can't, picture it. But I'll tell you this, JB, Starkville and the surrounding areas and the Mississippi State campus, from what it was when I went there in 1995 to what it is now, it's like it's not even the same place.
All right, so I finished in 85, and in those 10 years, it tripled, even quadrupled to what it was before 95. And after that, in 95, it metamorphed into something I could never have imagined.
Yeah.
Mainly just for the fact that you can now buy beer in Starkville.
Yeah. Well, that.
Back in the day, you couldn't. You had to go to the Crossroads.
The Crossroads. And now you can actually buy it in the stadium.
Right. That's what's crazy to me. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like you need people drinking more in the stadium.
I mean, look, to this day, there are still
wink.
Roads on campus and one-way streets and stuff that I get lost on because they're not like they used to be. I get turned around all the time. All right, rolling along, hour 3. Stick around.
It's been a few months since you hired a lawyer for your injury case. You hired that lawyer without much thought or research. An ad that caught your eye. A friend told you about them. Or worse, they called you, which would have them disbarred if they were caught. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. And now you realized you made a huge mistake by hiring the wrong lawyer. Your gut tells you your case is worth way more, but your lawyer's trying to cram a settlement offer down your throat because they need the money more than you do. And then you go to forthepeople.com and see offers made and rejected and our jury verdicts, hundreds of them. You got to see what your case should really be worth. Here's the thing. Just because you hired a lawyer doesn't mean you can't.
I am not saying by any stretch of the imagination that we're going to win tonight. I will say, Germantown's going to be a tough out for everybody this year. I don't blame you for picking Warren Central. History shows they'll win the game tonight, but I think we'll play them tougher than what people think we will.
And now Warren Central's good. Warren Central's good. Solid team. Like Germantown, this is the year they could do something. That's one of the biggest games tonight. If I could be at a game, that's where I would be. I'll be headed to Vicksburg tonight. Get to check out Warren Central hosting Germantown. Big 6A ball game. And, Germantown loaded with really good players. They're off to a 3-0 start. Warren Central, 3-0. It's a huge matchup. I can't wait to see that one tonight.
And I think we're going goalpost to goalpost, sideline to sideline. Goalpost to goalpost, sideline to sideline.
Everyone's starting to reach and play tonight. Now Nick Barnes, I think, is going to check into the game alongside Branson Robinson. Armor in shotgun formation. He's going to go to Nick. Nick gets a hold, and he breaks it to the 30, up to the 29-yard line. We're looking for a big game for Nick tonight.
Thompson again, first and goal. Up and over. Is he in? Side judge running in. Touchdown, Vikings. There's the call.
Right route is a trip.
There's the give. Trey Hall sweeping right side. Gets the block to the wide receiver. He's in the secondary. Down the right sideline. The chase is on. 30, 25, 20. Nobody's going to catch him. Trey They give it to TJ. Ball is on the ground.
Oh, wow.
Germantown says they have it. Germantown bench went nuts. Germantown does have the football. Everybody in tight for the Vikes. Quick drop. It's deflected in the air. Taylor Smith again. He's done it again. A pick six for Smith.
Second one of the season, Jared. He had one a couple of weeks ago, and Taylor Smith takes it in.
Fires over the middle behind his receiver. Incomplete. That's it. 1-0 in district. The Vikings win 23-10 over the Germantown Mavericks.
Great job by the Vikings tonight. You saw the halftime adjustments by Coach Josh Morgan and his team.
It's huge for right now. It's huge for down the road, guys. You set yourself up very nicely. Now, what we have got to focus on is we're going to enjoy this Sunday. We're going to, you hear me? We're going to enjoy it, guys. We're going to relish it. And we're coming back, and we're getting ready to get
Really
back.
outscored Germantown as they came out. Great defensive plays from Taylor Smith and Tevin Bell, and a wonderful job to close out this game for the Big Red.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
Bull. There's a lot of that out there in the wireless world. But C-Spire believes that you deserve a plan.
Nice hair! It's the Matt Wyatt Show on 105.9 The Zone and worldwide. Online at The Zone. 1059.com.
Back with you. Still got time. Plenty of time. Got about a half hour left here with you on the show, and then I say we will. JB, the bus driver, both hands on the wheel, going to get this bus pulled right up into the driveway, right up to the front door on the front porch of the drive with Jake Wimberly and Beaver coming up at 3.
Programming note, not happening today.
Uh-oh. Is he okay?
Yeah, the drive got sidetracked. They are not going to be pulling into this stadium, or this studio, I should say. They're pulling in down in Lucedale at George County.
Oh, is that where Brandon is tonight?
Yeah, Brandon's playing down there, so there's no
no
drive today. It'll go national, and then we'll come back at 6:30 with MRA football on WRKS, The Zone.
MRA versus...
I believe they got Park Lane down at the Pioneers' home field in Macomb City.
Hey, Park Lane, I got 2 words for you. Good luck.
Yeah.
Because you're going to need it.
Yeah.
Put up 50 on Corinth last week. MRA can play, man. Those cats can go. Hey, here's one from the way back.
Uh-oh.
On this day in 1983, the 10th season of this show kicked off.
Well, we're moving on now. Yes. To the side. To a deluxe apartment in the sky.
Come on. George and Wheezy. George Jefferson, played by Sherman Hemsley. Rest in peace, sir. All right, here we go.
This is the best part.
Get my turn it back. Yeah, the Jeffersons, the 10th season of that show started on this day in 1983. They were on from 75 to 85. They were a spinoff of All in the Family. Their own spinoff was 227, sort of.
Man, I tell you, hearing that tune right there, it reminds me of what I would tell the congregations I served if I was preaching and they started clapping when music was going on. I would say, now, folks, you know I love you, but it always makes me nervous when white people try to keep time.
That's about right.
Well, are we clapping on 1 and 3 or 2 and 4, preacher? I got no idea.
Caleb says on Periscope, he says, I love hearing that after bunts and stolen bases at Duty Noble Field. That's right. Caleb, I started to say that if I played baseball, this would be my walk-up song. But that's right. They already use it during the games whenever you have a bunt or you have a stolen base. Moving on up. It's a great show. I told you that watching that show as a little tyke is what was credited with me using my first curse word in front of my parents. Told that story before. I think they ultimately blamed the show The Jeffersons, and I had to stop watching it for a period of time. Now, it could have also been the Dukes of Hazzard. I mean, I don't know. But I was about 3 years old, and they brought me home from day school and had bought for me an Oscar the Grouch punching bag. Inflatable Oscar the Grouch punching bag. One of those things, weighted punching bag, sits on the floor, you know. And they had it for me in the kitchen. We walk into the back steps of the trailer, and I look, and it was a surprise. And according to them, the words out of my mouth were, and y'all pardon me, the words out of little Matt's mouth was, "What the hell is that?" And my parents fell out, hit the floor, and then got to discussing it, trying to figure out where he'd heard it. And apparently it's, well, we let him watch the Jeffersons every night. He probably heard George Jefferson say it.
So they did contact tracing.
Contact tracing. Yeah, Matt, you going to watch something else tonight for the next few weeks? Let's see if we can, get the cursing out of you. It's really even funnier to hear my dad tell the story because he had a first-hand account. You know, he's the one who walked me in and heard the whole thing. And so, what you see on TV will affect what you say sometimes.
Well, and I think there are ways that you can deal with that. Like, I've got a good friend who's been an Episcopal priest for many, many years, and he does a lot of counseling. But he's got a good friend that makes these dolls. They almost look like voodoo dolls, but he calls them "damn it" dolls.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so if you're struggling that particular day, then you just find your "damn it" doll and you beat it up.
Beat it up. Yeah.
Or you just talk to it and say everything you want to say about the situation, and then you're able to kind of put your problems behind you and move on. All about letting things go instead of let it build up inside. But
dolls,
when he first introduced me to the "damn it" dolls, I was quite intrigued. I want one of those.
Dolls, huh? Dolls for grown-ups?
Yeah, but they're not but about, 7-8 inches long. They look like these Rastafarian kind of creatures, the way they're sewn together, but it's also kind of voodoo-ish.
Yeah.
So I thought it was pretty interesting, if you're driving down the road, instead of honking your horn, you grab your "damn it" doll.
Yeah. I don't know about that. I think just scream it out and be done with it is what I say. Just get in the car and scream it out at the top of your lungs and just let it all hang out.
Bow your head and ask for forgiveness.
Mm-hmm. The same you do when you drop that hook with that minnow on it over in the treetop, and a fourth time in a row it gets hung up, and good and well if you pull it out of there, you're going to spook the fish that are hanging out in that treetop under the water. You just let it out every now and then. That's the way it happens. Ready Teddy on the Country Pleasing text line, 885-ESPN, says, George Jefferson was in the dry cleaning business. Before the dot-com boom, dry cleaning had made more self-made millionaires than any other business. And I did not know that. Okay, it's time to get on to football. Games not around the SEC, and we'll come back and then preview the SEC games coming up. Tonight you have 2 games, both on television. On the ACC Network at 6, you have Wake Forest hosting Campbell. And then tonight on ESPN2 at 8, you have BYU hosting Louisiana Tech. Now, you're not going to watch those because you'll be out watching high school football, as you should, around the state of Mississippi. Enjoy this unbelievable weather that we have tonight here in Week 7 of the high school football season. All right, tomorrow, these are non-SEC games. Texas hosting TCU at 11 on Fox. Pittsburgh hosting NC State, 11 on the ACC Network. 11 a.m. on ESPNU, you have Georgia State hosting East Carolina over in Atlanta. Coastal Carolina hosting Arkansas State at 11 on ESPN2. And then at 11 on ABC, so you got a whole bunch of games early in the morning. At 11 on ABC, you have West Virginia hosting Baylor. 11:30, no television, UAB hosts Texas San Antonio. UAB a huge favorite in the ball game, even though UTSA is 3-0. It's in Birmingham at Legion Field. Back to television at noon. Liberty hosts North Alabama, ESPN Plus. CBS Sports Network, 12:30. Army hosts Abilene Christian. Abilene, prettiest town I've ever seen. 2:30 on ABC. Boston College hosting North Carolina. The Tar Heels are going to play again, and they're a big favorite. 2 touchdowns on the road. 2:30 ESPN Plus. Cincinnati hosts South Florida. 2:30 on ESPN. Kansas hosting Oklahoma State. 2:30 on ESPN2, it's SMU hosting Memphis. 2:30 on Fox Sports 1, it's Kansas State hosting Texas Tech. 3 o'clock on the ACC Network, Duke hosts Virginia Tech. Both Duke looking for its first win. They're 0-3. At 5 on CBS Sports Network, you have Air Force hosting Navy. 6:30 ESPN2, UCF hosting Tulsa. 6:30 ABC, Oklahoma at Iowa State. 7 o'clock on the ACC Network, Clemson hosting Virginia. And that's all the games not involving SEC teams. We'll go over the SEC games coming up next. I'm Matt. Stick around.
Whether you wanna be nice or not.
I'm actually going to head up to Biggersville up in Alcorn County tonight. 1A Biggersville, they're 2-0 this year. Scored 60 points in their ball game last week, so they're off to a really good start. Been by there a bunch. You can see the school and the field from the highway. There's a school, a water tower, a barbecue place, and a Dollar General, and a lot of really good folks.
I started at Biggerville in the 2nd grade in 1966, and I've been here since the 2nd grade. So people in Biggerville have been so good to me. And the good Lord, I'm just really blessed by what I've been able to experience. After school Thursday, there was 28 kids out there, and we counted the orders after. You know, we're just blessed to support the school, and they sure support me.
This is the busy night, like everyone's coming.
It's a close-knit community. I mean, they love the kids, and like I said, I've been in Biggerville for 60 years, and it's just a great place. I mean, great place to raise your family and kids and support the school.
Smithville, who's always kind of been a 1A powerhouse, hasn't played yet this year. They haven't been able to really even practice as much because of COVID. So kind of an interesting dynamic because Biggersville has never beaten Smithville. At least that's what I'm told. So it's actually a huge opportunity for that community.
I was supposed to stay
I'll take
next week.
hamburger and
Monday.
Coke. You got any chips?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to tonight's game between the Biggersville Lions and the Smithville Seminoles. And what a game we have in store tonight as the 2-0 Lions take on the 0-0 Smithville Seminoles.
Well, let's see if the Lions can get their run game going with senior number 23 Goldman Butler.
So tonight's matchup getting ready to take place as the Beaversville Lions won the toss. They have elected to defer to the second half. We thank you all for tuning in to tonight's ball game.
Of course, Smithville brings tradition that people long for, and that's kind of what we long for here. Again, we're building it, but they've kind of set the standard, especially in 1A in North Mississippi and across Mississippi in general. So, yeah, it's exciting. To my knowledge, they've told me we've never beaten them, so what an accomplishment that would be, and that's what we shoot for, and just to kind of set the tone for the whole season for bigger and better things, hopefully.
Bowler got a couple of blocks. He's going to bust through. He's going to break free. One man to beat. Breaking tackle. And will finally get pushed out of bounds at around the 10-yard line. So a great job right there for the Beaversville Lions. Rousey shotgun takes snap and hands it off to Butler once again. Butler up the middle. Got some blocks. Going to be handed off to Butler. Round to the left side and he'll bust into the end zone.
Right now. You got the Matt Wyatt Show on 105.9 The Zone and online at thezone1059.com.
Back with you, getting ready to wrap this thing up. Getting ready to wrap it up. But we still got a little ways to go. And I've got in front of me a list of 10 high school games in the state of Mississippi to keep an eye on tonight. Compliments of the folks at MississippiGridiron.com. You ready? Starkville at Germantown. Starkville comes in 4-0. Germantown 3-1. Got their first loss last week at Warren Central. Starkville is the pick over at MississippiGridiron.com. There's players all over the field. You got Division I, big-time Division I recruits and skill players on both teams on the field on offense, so that one will be interesting. South Panola is at Clinton. South Panola's 3-1. Clinton's 1-2. Who has South Panola lost to?
They lost to Starkville last week, 38-20.
That's right. Forgotten that. That was at home, and now they hit the road, go to Clinton. Again, at Mississippi Gridiron, South Panola's the pick here in this one.
I disagree.
Didn't agree with that. You think Clinton's going to pull up?
I'm going to be a homer. I'm just going to be straight up go homer because we never could beat them when my sons were playing there, so I hope they beat them now. And I hope they beat them bad.
It says here, Clinton quarterback Caleb Miller, along with running backs Montavious Warren and Jeremy Mack, will lead the rushing attack that averages 135 yards per ball game. Meanwhile, South Panola is averaging 308 yards per game on the ground. Whew.
And Ricky Woods has gotten them back to where they were.
Yeah.
When Pogue left.
Right.
They missed a beat a few years, but they're back. I mean,
yeah.
Just shows you how good of a team Starkville is.
Yeah.
That's the team of the state, I think.
Oak Grove at Petal. Oak Grove 3-0. Really good, by the way, as is expected. Yeah, really good. Big finish. Oak Grove at Petal. Oak Grove is the pick here. D'Iberville tonight at Ocean Springs. 3-0 versus 4-0, and it's at Ocean Springs, and the pick over here at Mississippi Gridiron is D'Iberville. It's a heck of a matchup on the coast. There'll be a lot of excitement for that one, for sure. Harrison Central, also 3-0. They're hosting Biloxi, who's 2-1. Biloxi, just hats off to them for what they're doing after the, just almost no preseason practice that they had leading up to the start of the year. Really incredible what that coaching staff's been able to do. The pick there is Harrison Central. In a close one, they're picking Lafayette over Grenada. Grenada goes to Lafayette tonight. It's 2-1 Grenada at 2-2 Lafayette. Jeff Davis County 3-1 at West Marion 3-1. They like Jefferson Davis County. Previously mentioned on the Country Pleasing text line back in hour number 1, Newton 3-0 at Union 3-1. The pick here is Union. Jackson Academy at Jackson Prep. JA at Prep. JA's 4-2. Prep is 4-1. They like Prep. And then
JA's on a 4-game win streak, too. They have not lost since they lost to MRA that second week of the season.
How about that? So putting it together. Pillow at Starkville Academy, 4-2 at 3-2. And they like Starkville Academy there at home. So go check out those 10 games to watch. Who's hanging on?
We got the Real C.
The Real C has called us?
Oh, yeah, man.
How about this? Circle this one. Real C, what's up, man?
Matt, you got the official stamp of approval now, baby.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Hey, I wanted to report on the Central SIP 6A group.
Okay.
Warren Central is easily the class of the field. I think you got to witness a good ball club, and I think you could probably attest to it. And after having watched all the other locals, I can safely say I think they're going to be the ones to beat.
Okay.
I really do.
Think Warren Central is? Okay. All right.
Yeah, I think Warren Central is, and I believe Madison Central will fall right in along behind them. Curious to see what comes out of the north side of things. It's going to be interesting in 6A.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it is going to be interesting, and it's one of those, too, where I have just kept wondering as I've watched things. I know the private schools have played more games, but just with different schools having different practice schedules and different amounts of practice before their season due to this quarantine and that quarantine, you just wonder, like, which teams are going to put it all together at what time. You know, I keep reminding myself it's non-typical in that way.
Well, you got to really kind of look at it as week 3 would have been really your traditional first test of the season week, which, you know, the public schools, you started out the gates.
Yeah.
You know, it was thrown straight into the fire, and let's see what you got. There were some early upsets that I think that maybe raised an eyebrow or two, but I think as you can look at it now, you can see the cream rising to the top. At least in 6-2A.
Sure.
I do know that. Now, lastly, you picked on me about my green trout comment on your little fishy there in the backyard. Come on, brother, you got to tighten up. Hey, one last thing. Drop us another neck for a good weekend of football.
Another neck.
Another neck, baby.
To send you out. Come on. That's what I'm talking about. You asked for it, you got it, Toyota. Thanks for the call, Real C. He likes Warren Central going forward. Let's see here. All right, so let's look at the SEC games. Tomorrow, 11 a.m., ESPN. South Carolina is at Florida. Fighting Muschamps, the Fighting Mullins. And they're going to have some fans in Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. 11 a.m. kickoff on ESPN. That'll be right after game day. It'll be the second straight week that Florida would have been in that time slot on that channel. Florida hosting South Carolina tomorrow. 17-point favorite according to ESPN. 11 a.m. on the SEC Network. Missouri at Tennessee. 21st ranked Tennessee. Tennessee 12-point favorite according to ESPN. Garantano last week threw for 259 and a touch in the win over South Carolina. Their leading rusher, Ty Chandler, rushed for 86 yards last week on 13 carries. And so a couple of big favorites there in that 11 a.m. time slot tomorrow. One on ESPN, one on the SEC Network. Then, here we go. 2:30 CBS. 13th ranked Texas A&M at 2nd ranked Alabama. Bama looked better last week in their win over Missouri than Texas A&M did in their win over Vandy. It's at Bryant-Denny. Alabama is an 18-point favorite, according to ESPN. And so you have that one. 3 o'clock, SEC Network. Ole Miss at Kentucky. Everybody on this show and everybody I've heard is picking Ole Miss to win because of their offense. Both teams 0-1. after last week. But according to ESPN, Kentucky is a 6-point favorite in the game. Corral went for 70-some-odd% last week, 395 yards, 3 TDs. So Kentucky's going to have their hands full for sure. Tomorrow night, 6:30 ESPN, it's the Auburn-Georgia game. Number 7 Auburn, number 4 Georgia in Sanford Stadium, Athens, Georgia. Georgia, a 7.5-point favorite. Bo Nix threw 3 TDs last week against Kentucky. 6:30 p.m. SEC Network alternate, that's Arkansas and Mississippi State. State, a 17-point favorite. And then 6:30 on the SEC Network, it's LSU, 0-1. At Vanderbilt, LSU, a 21-point favorite. So, who do you have? If I were making picks, starting next week, week 3, every week, we get to Friday, I'll make some sure enough picks. Not really sort of doing it, but, if you're making picks, do you go all favorites? Do you go all the favorites? All the favorites right now are Florida by 17 over South Carolina, Tennessee by 12 over Missouri, Bama by 18 over A&M, Kentucky by 6 over Ole Miss, Georgia by 7.5 over Auburn, State by 17 over Arkansas, and LSU by 21 over Vandy. Do you go all the favorites? I don't know that I would. Honestly, if I were picking the games, I might pick Auburn for the upset on the road at Georgia because they're definitely going to play JT Daniels for Georgia at quarterback. I mean, they're just going to do it. First time out of the chute against that defense. I don't care where, who, what, when. I got a feeling Auburn will have the advantage if they pull that. I think Georgia is in no man's land at quarterback this week against that Auburn team. That's what I think. I think you play Stetson Bennett, you probably don't get everything you need to win the game. And I think if you play JT Daniels, he's capable, but I think first time out of the chute probably does not get it done. Now, Georgia's defense, for real, and it ought to be a low-scoring game, all things considered. So I would go with Auburn on the road. I actually would. I like Auburn. That's what I'd do. I'd go Auburn on the road. That might be one upset there that I'd pick. The other would be Ole Miss at Kentucky, probably. Now, a gambler would look at the points spread and go, well, 6 Kentucky, maybe Kentucky wins it by a field goal, and so you take Ole Miss for that reason. I'm not looking at it that way. I think if I'm just picking winners, I probably would do that one too. I'd probably do a couple of West teams, Ole Miss on the road and Auburn on the road, at a couple of East teams to be those upsets. I think Alabama will run Texas A&M out of the stadium. I think Tennessee will have no trouble at home against Missouri. I think Florida will have no trouble at home against South Carolina. I think Mississippi State will not have much trouble at home ultimately against Arkansas. They're going to be competitive at times, but ultimately I don't think they're going to have much trouble. And I think LSU will exercise some demons and score whatever they want to score and beat Vandy by whatever they want to beat them by tomorrow in Nashville. Y'all tell me when I'm wrong. Remind me on Monday. Thanks for listening. For JB, I'm Matt. For all of us here at the show, see you on Monday. Have a great weekend, and thanks for listening.